So it's now live on YouTube.
Fantastic.
So this is on the TUG YouTube channel, or
unfortunately,
we haven't made that connection
online,
yet.
but I don't think it really matters.
Okay. But do you know? Can you send me the link, or?
Yeah. So if can you see the live on YouTube button at the top of the screen?
On the top of the screen. Yes.
Click on that, and it will give you the link in the menu.
Cop streaming link. Yes.
Now, there was one other thing that I saw as the host, which is that you can rename yourself, which was something that you were asking about.
Yes. Well, you know, I told you that I set up a couple of machines in here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I was intended to log on for the other one, but I'm having Ethernet problems with my laptop. So I'm going to stay here with this machine throughout the day. And you know, I told you that I set up a couple of machines in here.
Oh, yeah.
And I was intended to
live stream.
Oh, that's a live stream. That's me. So
I think the delay on the live stream gets longer and longer for the longer that it goes. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sorry, I maybe confused you because I started the live stream just live curiosity, and then I realized that maybe you are hearing it as well.
Yeah, I did that a lot the other day.
Very long loop, so I hope it's. I paused the live stream now. No, I didn't. Okay, so now, okay, so it should be good now. Sorry for confusion, but yes, the live stream works actually, which is nice. And I can see actually when I have the Zoom open, I see like live on YouTube on top of the Zoom window now. And I mean, you can copy the streaming link from there, which is very cool.
It is. The only problem that we've found is that when we close this session and open up a new session, like this time tomorrow, we'll get a different link. So if we want to advertise the streaming, then we'll need to kind of re-advertise it every time we have a new day or a new session.
So yeah, that's the problem of not having the channel, not doing it to the channel, because the channel then is easy for people to locate the channel and see what's live on the channel. But that's okay, you know, we can leave with that. And but I had another very important question. Let me see if do you see my image at all?
No, I don't see any image.
You don't see my image?
No, I don't see anything. Just like my name when I speak and Will's name when he speaks, and I never see even your name or anything.
So there's
if you go to the YouTube video, you can see what everyone sees.
Yes, that's right.
And that's just the names.
Yes.
So there's the green share screen button at the bottom for putting up the
but I shouldn't need to
website
share.
You developed.
Huh? But I shouldn't need to share a camera, should I?
No, so there's start video, which is the camera, or share screen, which is the view that you see on your monitor. Hey, Dave is here.
Dave Walden. Yes. So say that again, Will. I have share screen. Okay. I have.
Yeah, that's the one you want.
I want that. For what?
Didn't you say you wanted us to see your screen?
No, I want you to see my video.
Oh, your face.
Yeah. And I have the camera selected. And I have stop video, start video.
There you are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, another little mess up. You know that this. I had to stop the video, and even though the video was stopped, I had to stop it again, stop it again, and then start it again for it to go. I guess these guys are like in rapid development mode. They made updates to this application every day.
Yeah, I think there was a similar to an exponential growth in Zoom as there was for
Yeah.
coronavirus cases.
David, can you hear us? Let me see. Oh, now. So you're saying I can rename myself, no?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't even see like a list of participants. So if David is here, then I have no idea he's here.
Oh, that's nice to know. You don't see the other participants.
No.
Yeah, I
but-
was surprised to see that.
So there's 3 attendees: Xiaodong Zhang, Angel Zetina, and Tom. And Dave joined as a panelist. And let's see.
So yeah, you got it. TUG 2020.
Yeah, I got that. And so I think we're waiting for Charo and Sue. Let me see if I can text them to ask them to come in.
Do you have their video, which you were going to broadcast?
Yeah, so let me open those up.
Okay.
So 1, lesson 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Awesome. Bookshop overview. Sound. So let me share. That video. Funky, this thing that you have to play something locally and then share.
I agree.
Zoom could have a solution where they, that you put the video to play on their server, and then not only that, but they could have a way to schedule things. Do you see it now?
Mm-hmm.
And do you hear it now?
No, do you hear it?
Oh, no sound.
No sound?
No sound.
I think there's a setting.
You have to go to the top to the bottom left, and there you have probably something like microphone. I mean, if you click that, you have select the microphone, and you need like the stereo mix, I think it's called. And if you choose that one, it will just play the system sounds.
So select the microphone, test the speaker, switch to phone audio, leave computer audio. So let me unshare this, stop share, just to figure out, you know, why this MP4 is not playing with sound on this machine. Wow.
You can hear the sound on your end?
No.
Ah,
Oh.
okay, that's the problem.
Yeah. I'll have to install VLC here on this machine very quickly. Let me do that because this MP4 playing from Microsoft is not putting any sound out. Well, let me see if I have, let me see if I have anything connected here. VLC. It's gonna be VLC. What the heck, man? What the heck? Could it be because YouTube has taken control over my sound system? The YouTube,
You mean Zoom?
well, the YouTube, I mean, I need the speaker on Zoom because I need to talk to people, but it could be that I'm not listening to the live stream anymore. So this is strange. I was listening to the live stream a few minutes ago. And so let me close this. This is YouTube. Let me close this step by step. Very funky thing. What happens if I reboot this machine right now?
I think you want to switch me to be the host in that case.
Make host.
See you again shortly.
See you.
Actually, before you reboot, you should just leave the meeting and see if that fixes the sound. And then reboot.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure about one thing. Because we will be probably chatting with Arthur the day 2 session in the morning. And in case one of us cannot join for some reason, it's the case that the person that's first in the meeting should do something special, right? Like log in using the Mekang whatever account is there, right? Or something.
Yeah, that's right. Did you see an email from me recently called something like instructions for chair people?
Yeah, there is one. Yeah, okay. Instructions for chair people. Yes, I have one that's like head to the webinar. If there is not a host, okay, you need to log in with the University of Adelaide credentials. Okay, so that's the thing, right?
So the main thing with that is just making sure that the recording starts automatically, so that's not really anything you need to worry about.
Okay.
And then the live streaming needs that explicit switch to turn it on.
Okay, I see, good. And I think I just tested my live streaming on YouTube, so that should be good.
Yeah. Have you come into Zoom as a host before?
Well, not really, but we are, I mean, no, I don't think I have ever been the host, so no.
No. So I just tried to, where have you gone? There you are.
Okay, good. Now I see people here. Good, nice.
So I've just made you a co-host, which will give you most of the power of being a host.
Okay, good.
So the main thing to look at is I recommend clicking on the participants button and the chat button.
Okay, yep. I see.
So then you can kind of review what's going on there. And in the participants section, you can click through on the panelists and mute them if they're being noisy, or kick them out if they're being problematic. And then with the attendees, you can enable their microphones and so on.
Okay. So basically, if someone joins, it's like me. They join and they cannot speak unless I sort of click here, allowed to talk or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that the biggest problem that we're going to have potentially is that people that are supposed to be talking might end up as an attendee. And then if we're not paying attention, they'd have no way of making us aware that they need to be able to start speaking. So it's a good idea to keep an eye on the chat just to check that
Okay.
if someone hasn't come up and urgently needs to. I mean, I guess you'll know whether the person that's up next is in the audience or not.
Okay. And shall I try sharing some video or something just to see whether it works?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I don't have any of the official videos, but I think I have some of my recordings here somewhere. Wait a moment, videos. Oh goodness, too many WAVs and no videos. Oh, here's some video. What is it? Okay, does it have any sound? Okay, it has sound of me singing, which is not the best thing, but whatever. If it works, it works. Okay, and this one is. Okay, this one is better because there is a lot of noise, so that's good. So what should I do? Wait.
So they're coming through fine with the audio, and then there's the share screen button at the bottom.
Yeah, but I should switch off all the like work-related thing because, you know, overly security.
Yeah, that depends on what you've got on your screen.
Yeah, sure, but I better close the windows, I think. Okay, so this is the video I would like to share, and let's see whether I can do it. So share screen. Okay, and I want to share my screen simply. And I can share even a specific window, so I should start a window first. Now what's going on here?
Yeah, that it's a little bit flaky, that feature. It's not actually a window, it's more of a rectangle on the screen.
Yeah, but I can put the thing on the other screen. That's nice.
Yeah.
I remember doing this before. Oh goodness, what's going on here now? I need to start a video. Good. Put it here. It's screen number 1. So I can keep zoom on screen 2, and I can put the video on screen 1. And share screen 1. So now you should see my piano and stuff. Okay, let's put it back better. And I think that, I don't know if you, there's no.
An impressive setup.
I can't hear anything now. That's so good, so bad. I mean, I understand why Pablo was so confused. Because I can't hear the video now.
So Zoom is taking over the audio in some way.
Something is going on, yes. And this is so bad. I mean, it makes sense because you don't want any feedback, because you want to hear both me and my sound. But it also means that this is very, very confusing. And also the screen is sort of occupied with the video now. So, okay. If I do, what do I want to do? Oh, goodness. Okay.
So can you see the mute button on the lower left? I can hear little bits of the sound.
Řekni slovo, pane, ať pomine tahle šedá tma. Řekni slovo a zázrak.
Tom, are you able to speak, or has the video taken over the audio now?
Now you should hear me.
Yes.
And did you hear the video?
I did, yes.
Okay. And can you hear the video now the same way, or is it worse?
Yeah, I can.
It's the same thing. Because the thing that, I mean, I don't know what you see of my Zoom screen. Probably you don't see the Zoom things I showed. I mean, if I open the Zoom menu, you can't see it, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
You really need to sort of like mess with the thing. And maybe if I just do this, now you still hear me?
I can hear.
Okay, this is bad. Now you hear me? Okay.
But the video isn't playing.
And now the video is playing, and you can hear.
I can hear your voice.
Okay, so and I can hear both as well. So I mean, I'm not sure what I did differently, but now I can hear both, which is good. I mean, like I hear the video and you hear both. That's the thing what I wanted to say. And that's good. Okay, let's stop sharing before people realize that that's me singing. I mean, it was some church stuff for the coronavirus whatever times.
Sure. So you didn't change a specific setting, you just messed around with them a bit.
I mean, I think that I just what did I do? I think I just switched back and forth before different options for the microphone. In the Zoom's menu, I mean at the mute menu, I just switched, I think, between two settings of the microphone and it worked. I don't think I did anything different. No. I really did only these two, this, and I think I could hear. Maybe it was fine from the very beginning, but there is not much audio in this video. Well, I mean, I should just download any video on the internet, and whatever, or download one of the talks maybe. It shouldn't be much of a problem. Good. Where is it? Okay. Here.
Can you hear me now, Will?
Yeah, we can hear you, Paulo.
Which produces beautiful letter.
So I had to reboot, and the sound system was set to an internal sound processor on the Dell machine, which I have no idea how it got flicked into that, but probably something that Zoom pushed out. The machine has like 3 sound systems attached to it, and it got switched to something that have never been switched to. Can I see if I can play the video and you guys see, tell me if you can see it?
Go for it, yeah.
So I have to play first before I share. So,
Hello, my name is Cheryl Ponchin. I would like to welcome you to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. I will be conducting this workshop with Sue DeMarin. Right now, I'd like to show you an overview of what we will be going over.
do you see it?
Yes, we can see her and we can hear her.
Does she show on 16:9 very nicely? How does it?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea because the Zoom window is just as a window,
Okay. But enough resolution that you can
Yeah, it looked okay. And I'm just checking out the streaming, and that seems to be showing up all right as well. There were a couple of video stutters, which I guess you might expect, but the audio came through without a hitch.
Okay, I'm going to refrain from putting the YouTube stream here on the same machine, because probably that was what generated, because the problem started when I did that. So some interaction between listening to the live stream. I'll dig out from that later. We have 5 attendees already set. And,
yeah, I guess they're listening to us gossiping.
I guess we set, isn't it? And
I believe so.
It's also piecing that you have to start playing the window before you share it, that you can't share it and then start playing.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it just depends how you set it up, because I just share I have 2 screens here.
Uh-huh.
Basically, I have the main screen, and then I play the video on the second screen and just share the second screen. And I can start sharing the second screen before I play the video.
And then you still have control of.
Yes, because the Zoom controls just move over the video. I mean, on top you will have the like foldable Zoom panel, and that works. We just tried like a couple minutes ago, and I'm not sure how can I share you what I see, because I mean, if I share it with you, then you don't see what I see.
Let me see if I can do this again, because I kind of so the workshop share.
Throughout
Oh,
the
yes.
workshop.
Yes, it does allow me. Okay, I thought it was some Windows thing, but it does allow me. So we cannot talk on the background while the video is playing. Is that correct?
I mean, I
No,
could.
you can.
But would that interfere with what everybody else listens to or not? If you talk on the
Yeah,
background.
they'll be able to hear both you and the video.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but that would not be good, Just came in.
Oh, Cheryl
Hi.
could interrupt herself if. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How did you dig your login? You dig your.
Well, they gave me a new link.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So I was just going to do it with putting the code in.
Okay.
But he sent me a new link, and so I just used the link. But either way, I had the code.
Oh, who Will?
Will Robertson?
Okay. He's here.
Yeah.
He's here with us.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Thank you for sending me the extra link.
No problem at all. That was nice. It was good timing, really, that I think Carl sent through your other address earlier today.
Sorry?
So everything's good. How is everybody today?
Cool. There were a few glitches that we worked out in the last few minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still a little nervous about the videos. So, basically, we talked about this yesterday. Paulo, I can only see your eyes.
I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna,
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was mine. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna click on to the conference link so I can see the videos, I guess. And then the chat will be on there, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so if you put your mouse over to the bottom,
Okay, let me click on the first for the conference, what they're gonna see, right? If I click on that for the workshop?
Yes.
Okay, let me just see how that goes, because I'm curious.
Do you want me to play one of the videos to see how that's gonna happen?
If you want to.
Let me play just a tiny little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna do what's called sharing, and then I'm gonna move over there and play this.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Ponchin. I would like to welcome you to the TUG2020 Beginner's Logic Workshop. I will be conducting this workshop with Sue DeMary. Right now, I'd like to show you. Okay, that's good enough.
See?
Yeah.
And that it will sort of play to the end, unless you want to interrupt by any reason.
Okay.
But then when it starts, you can come online, you can continue on the chat, or I'll explain to the viewers that there will be a brief pause until we play the next video. What do you think? 3 minutes kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. That's probably good. I'm going to turn it off on my computer right now. Right now I'm on the laptop because I wasn't sure what to do. Okay. I mean, on my iPad, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
So I just canceled it on I'm going to do it on my laptop because it's bigger.
Right. And with the keyboard, you probably have more access to
right. What I was thinking, I didn't know if the panelist was if I had to do separate for panelists and the talks.
No. Your persona as a panelist will allow you to talk. Now, what you're saying right now is being seen by these guys, there's a few guys in already. Do you see them on the list?
I see Will and Angel.
Yeah, if you go to attendees, so participants, there is, if you go participants, if you click down the lower left, the lower part of the screen, it opens a new screen on the right.
Okay, I'm gonna actually just do this on my computer instead of the laptop. So I'm gonna leave here
And come back.
and come back. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.
So speaking of leaving, Paolo, it's getting pretty late for me, but I don't want to leave you in the lurch. So what I thought would be a good idea is for me to duck out now.
Okay. Sleep for
And
10,
then
for 10
we've got
minutes.
about 10 minutes for you to urgently contact me in case something disastrous happens when I do that.
Okay.
But I don't imagine that it will. I think everything seems to be working really well.
Super. And I'll write the opening words that I haven't
And
written yet.
we can touch base, well, morning in my time, asynchronously if need be, to iron out any final wrinkles.
Okay. Thank you very much, man.
If I don't see you, good luck with the next few hours.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the best.
Hi,
Hi, Sue. How are you?
how are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We already have about 8 attendees already logged on.
Okay.
People from Belize,
Oh, nice.
China, and a few other in India. And with us as well, it's right now it's Marcel Kruger, one of the speakers of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Cheryl is here. Hi, Marcel. Do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you hear us too.
Okay. How's the sound and the image in Europe right now? Are you in Berlin or?
In Hamburg, actually, near home, Berlin. It looks good.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
we just try activating my video for once. I'm just doing some tests right now.
All right.
Oh,
Super.
seems to work.
Super. Seems
Great.
very nice. Yes, yes. And yeah, no, I mean, Zoom is good for that stuff because Zoom has sort of special rented channels in between US and Europe and between Europe and Brazil. So it's able to carry a lot more load than the other applications are.
Mm.
So doing it like sort of a video over Zoom has a higher quality than most WhatsApp and Skype calls, for example, because of this, because of their ability to rent these channels and reserve these channels for their own traffic. That's nice. Cool. I'm really looking for your talk on Half Bus.
Oh, the first one, yeah. I was just recording the third version of it.
Yeah, but both of them, in fact. I mean, the one on delimiters is something that I'm really looking for as well. I mean, it's about time we do something with that.
Yeah,
I keep losing signal from Marcel.
yeah, the other one. Hmm? What?
Yes, yes.
What did she say? I didn't understand it.
Oh, I keep losing the signal.
Oh,
It's all broken
that's
up.
odd. Let's see.
Put this in a better position. Yes, this is better. Are you back, Marcel?
I should be back.
All right.
Okay, that's
Try
better.
if it works.
Cool, cool.
Okay. So it only works if I have you on. That's interesting.
Hello, Cheryl.
Okay. Have fun with
So-
the workshop. I believe.
So did Cheryl come in and went out?
Yes, because when I went in from the conference link, I didn't see that participant list.
You did. Oh, you may have.
Went out and I came back in as the panelist link. It's two separate links.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's what I did. So I left and I came back.
Okay.
So
How-
now I'm on the panelist link.
How come did you get the attendees list? Oh, because of the big email from Carl.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No.
So
Don't use that link.
yeah, so it's all good. So now will we see the videos for the conference then?
You will see.
Okay.
We'll see. I can show you how many minutes we have. No, we better not do this. We have like five minutes.
Yeah, it looked okay.
So.
So we'll just wait for all our questions.
Yeah.
I see we have 12 participants.
And so let me see if I have your list of your videos, Cheryl, in one computer and the videos itself on the other computer. So I do the workshop overview first, and then I go into lesson 1, 2, 3, all to 8 to 11.
Right.
And then when the lesson helpful hints.
Yeah, that's just sort of just a little bit of tech talk,
So that's 12, would say.
Yeah, that could be 12. Yes.
Okay. And then there's the letters and the slides,
Right.
especially from Sue, which I'll play in sequence after that. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine.
Cool. So overview first, lesson 1 through 12, and then lesson 1 through 11, and then help
Right.
letter and slides.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
Is that a plan, Sue?
That sounds good. Thank you.
And I'm going to be here, do you guys have my phone number? You do, no?
I do not, I don't think.
No, I don't either.
Piece of paper?
Here, I'll put it right in my phone.
Yeah.
51, sorry for being late with that. 510-717-1403.
14 what?
03.
03.
So 510-717-1403.
Yeah, and half of the world has that right now.
Okay.
Okay, yay. Perfect.
And
You'll be sorry.
yeah, I start getting tech questions on my phone, my text message on my phone.
Yeah. Help.
Hi, Boris.
Hi,
How are you?
fine, thank you. Do you need any help with answering questions or something?
We don't know. I mean, that's
Okay, I will work around. And
Yeah.
glad to see you, Paula, Sue, Cheryl.
Hi, Boris, how are
Hi,
you?
Hi, Boris.
Just fine, thank you.
Good.
Am I? Oh, there I am. Okay.
Boris? Where is he?
Oh, there we are. Okay.
So let's see, we have 8:57 right now. And yeah, 8:57. So 3 minutes to go.
Oh, look at all these people. Oh.
Where are you seeing other people?
So scroll down to participants. Scroll down to this main.
Oh, okay.
And click on that, and that window should show up on the right.
Okay. Okay, I only have, oh, wait, here it is.
People from all over the place.
There's panelists and then attendees.
Yeah, but there's panelists. There's 4 panelists.
Yeah, right. 4 panelists and 15 attendees.
Yes.
I hope they like it.
Yeah.
Okay, now can you see all the attendees?
Yes. So if you click on attendees, there's 15 of them right now.
Yeah.
Then you have to scroll down the list.
So
Okay.
if they do a chat, this is where we chat them back.
Yeah.
If they ask a question, I see.
Yes.
Or there's a chat down the bottom of the
Right, but
Zoom
if we have to
screen.
ask individual, maybe that's what shows up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never done this before.
So Tom Hager, hi guys, can you please make me a co-host again, just in case? Okay, so I'm gonna make Tom host, a co-host.
Cheryl, can you see pictures of everybody or just the names?
Just the names.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure I wasn't missing something here.
Yeah. So there's a guy there, Ukamati. Let's say my first TED conference. I'm happy to be here. You see that on the chat?
Oh, let's see. Sue, what were you asking me?
What are you
I see Boris's chat.
So Boris just answered him. You see the chat, Sue?
Wait a minute. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 9 o'clock.
Okay, I see it now.
So if I go to Boris, I could chat. Oh, there it is down here.
Yeah, so we can separately chat if someone sends a question.
So I'll get started, okay?
Okay.
Welcome all to TUG 2020. We didn't intend to run this conference in this way in the beginning, but that's what we come to, and that's what we're going to do. I would like to thank Sue and Cheryl for being gracious and generate this whole effort for doing our famous workshop online the day before the conference start. And I'll leave you up with them and with the first video of the talks. The talks are going to run sequentially. We're going to have a little interval in between them, something on the order of 3 minutes, so that you can take a break and come back. Be sure to feed questions on the chat. There will be some of us here helping them, answering the questions. And feel free to interact with us as much as you can with questions about other tech issues or questions about the lesson, what's going on. And we'll try to answer as much as we can. Welcome to TUG 2020. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Conchin. I would like to welcome. Hello, my name is Cheryl Conchin. I would like to welcome you to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. I will be conducting this workshop with Sue DeMary. Right now, I'd like to. Hello, my name is Cheryl Conchin. I would like to welcome you to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. I will be conducting this workshop with Sue DeMary. Right now, I'd like to show you an overview of what we will be going over throughout the workshop. There are 5 main document classes. First one is article. The article class uses a one-side class option. That means the margins, headers, and footers are the same for odd and even pages. Figures, tables, equations, etc. are numbered continuously. There's a book document class. The book document class uses a two-sided class option. This means the margins, headers, and footers are different for odd and even pages. The figures, tables, and equations, etc. are numbered per chapter. There's a report class. The report class uses a little bit of both. It has a one-side class option, and with the margins, headers, and footers the same for the odd and even pages as an article. However, The figures, tables, equations are numbered per chapter as in book. There's a letter class, which produces beautiful letters. And there's a slides class. Slides class is very good for using one-page slides. I'm using pausing, so I'm using the Beamer. There's a variety of page styles. Page style plain gives you an empty header, but puts your page numbers in the footer. Page style empty gives you both headers and footers with nothing in them. Page style headings shows a chapter name, page numbers on each head for a book and report style. Page style my headings lets you customize your headings by using a mark both command for the odd and even pages. There's a page style fancy, which uses a use package fancy header. This lets you customize your left, center, and right head, or your left, center, and right foot. There's a default numbering system. The default numbering system is Arabic. You can change this by doing a renew command and telling it the section, and then telling it what numbering system you wish. So in this sense, I'm using Roman. It will stay that way throughout your paper unless you change it to Arabic or a different numbering system. You can also change margins and spacing to fit your needs. So in this case, I'm showing you there's a top margin, text height, text width, and there's others. And a renew command, baseline stretch 2, will give me a double spacing. The important thing is you need to put these in your preamble, which is anything above your begin document. There's many use packages for LaTeX. Some of the math ones are AMS fonts, AMS math, and AMS symbol. With these, you can really create some beautiful mathematics. There's also graphics packages and rotate and many others. But here I'm giving you a begin and end picture with put lines and a rotated word hello. You can also include graphics such as PNGs, JPEGs, BMP files. We'll also show you how to do some tables with tabular, and this is an output. So there's several ways for mathematics commands. So there's single dollar signs, which gives you inline text. There are double dollar signs or backslash open bracket, close bracket, which gives you a display along with other types of displaying mathematics. Another one is an environment of begin equation, end equation. So if you'll notice, the first example has a number attached to it. The second example does not, because there's an asterisk after the word equation. So in LaTeX, when you want something suspended as far as the numbering, you would put an asterisk. We'll show you how to itemize and enumerate. Itemize uses symbols, enumerate uses numbers. So if you have would like to label and reference, then you want to use the enumerate so you can label it and reference it as I've done in this slide. We'll be showing you how to construct theorems. So in this sense, you need an AMS theorem package. You need to create the theorem. Then you use the environment of it, begin theorem, end theorem. I'm also showing you a proof, which comes with a proof box automatically at the end. We'll be showing you two types of way to do bibliographies. One is in the paper with a begin the bibliography and the bibliography, and the other will be with BibTeX. They both get cited the same way with /cite. However, for bibliography, there's a style, which plain is one of them, and then the bibliography is your .bib file is attached as a database file, which calls in your references. So the style files for bibliography is plain, which gives you Arabic numbers, unsort, which gives you Arabic numbers. Alpha gives you the first initial of each author and year. ABBRV gives you Arabic numbers, but in your output, it gives you the first initial of the author's name. I'll also be showing you how to do a make index, so you can add an index to the end of your paper. I hope you've enjoyed this overview and that you will join us for our workshop. Thank you.
So back in here, we have about 30 people already, 34 people joining the list. We'll have a brief interval to the next video, but you can continue to chat, you can continue to send messages, and we're gonna try to get to you as fast as we can.
Okay.
with Cheryl and Sue if they want to say something.
I hope it's going to go okay. We'll enjoy it and learn something. They can't hear us, right?
They can hear us. They hear you. They hear you. They see you. Yes, yes.
Well, I hope everyone enjoys this.
Yes, I agree. This was our first time doing it, so you know, it was sort of hard, but once we got into the flow, I think we did all right.
Yeah.
Hello, my name.
You're getting ready for lesson, the first lesson, lesson number 1, which is going to come out in about 30 seconds from now. And then we'll go in sequence with that with the other ones, one by one.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Conch, and I'd like to welcome you back to the TUG2020 Beginner's LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to construct a LaTeX document. Okay, in order to start a LaTeX document, you have to tell it what document class that you would like to use. In the overview, I explained there were several of them. In this lesson, I'm going to use document class article. So you would begin your document by doing a / document class, and then you would be telling it what class you want in a set of braces. Here I have a set of brackets, which gives extra arguments. I have 12 point here, but you can also change the paper size to, let's say, A4. You would put comma A4. You can put many arguments in the argument section that you would wish. So then you also need use packages. So use packages are for when you typeset your document, you're going to tell it some symbols, and what it's going to do is it's now going to, when you compile it, look for those in those use packages and then produce your output. So we're going to set our first document with our title page. So the definitions work as this. There is / some name and an open close brace. And inside those braces will produce in your output. There's also environments, which will start with / begin, and in a set of braces, the name of the environment, and then an end with the name of the environment. Then in between that environment, however you set your definition to be, that will show up in your output. So here we have title, author, and date. I just want to show you, I did a renew command of the baseline stretch. So something that's already has a command name, you can change it or alter it by doing a renew command. And I put 1.5, I wanted a larger spacing for the purposes of these lessons. So our first environment actually will be begin document and end document, which you need in order to do your paper. And in between here, I put a make title. So the make title is going to produce my title page. So let me say I'm using TeXmaker. So here is all these different options on how to check. And then here are your viewing options. So I will do PDF LaTeX. Since I've already done it, I can do a quick build, and quick build will produce what I need. You may be using Overleaf, which is similar. You may be using Linux, which you might be using Emacs or gedit, and either types in your commands in a command line. So there's different ways to produce. But for these purposes, I'm going to be using this editor, and this is showing my output. So here's my title page. So now we're going to add another environment, and this environment is going to be the abstract. So / begin abstract and / end abstract. So the definition in between there is going to say center the word abstract and then give me my abstract. If you notice here, I did / large. That's just to show you that I wanted my print to be a little bit larger. So just for viewing purposes. So I'm going to do a quick build of this one here. And here's my abstract. So now I'm going to add some sections. So here is /section, and again, open close brace. So what the definition of the section is, it's going to automatically number it in Arabic numbers in sequential order, and it will boldface my text and give me a carriage return. And so I said here in this last example, there's an asterisk after the word section. That asterisk says, suspend my numbering system, but give me the same properties as that definition. So if I do a quick build here, we're going to your first section, which is numbered automatically, and your second section. And the first paragraph, if you notice, the default is not to indent, and the second paragraph and thereon are indented. You may change this if you wish by changing the definition. Now, the unnumbered one gives you the same properties, but does not number it. In this next lesson here, I'm going to show you that you can label something. So when you label it, you can reference it later on in your paper. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a quick build of here. And you'll notice that you don't see anything here because you're not really seeing anything. You're just labeling it for a later reference. So it's not going to show up in your output. However, what I'm going to do here is /label labels it, and /ref references it. So anyway, I'm going to process this, and you're going to see what happens. And it's referencing I have here reference first and second. So what's happening is it is going to label my first section and my second section. Since I have been already producing these numbers are now correct. I'm going to show you another example. When you do it, it will come out first with a question mark. So in this example here, I'm going to add a new section. So what's going to happen here is now this is no longer going to be section 1 or section 2. This will be 2 and 3 because I'm adding it above this section. But what's going to happen to my numbering? Is it going to be off? Well, let's see what happens. Okay, it is off right now because I've just ran it once. And if you'll notice that in this new one, I labeled this new section and I referenced it. So the first time that it sees it, it's going to give question marks because it just reads it the first time. You'll need to process your file a second time. So when I process it the second time, you're going to notice that this is fixed now. It's going to be 2 and 3, and now this is going to be 1. So that's how it works. So you need to typeset it once, and what it does is it finds it and puts it in there. But the second time that you process it, it actually places all the correct information. So you don't ever have to worry. Notice I did this labeled first and second. Well, it doesn't mean it's really the first and second. It doesn't matter what this is. All it is what produces in your output when you're finished. And this is so nice because you can add things before and after, and you never have to worry about when you refer to something if it's going to refer to the wrong section. So now I'm going to show you, you can create subsections. Basically the same thing. You're just doing /subsections. There's also subsections. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm out doing a paragraph and subparagraph just to show you some different formatting. So subsection, it's just going to really basically change the numbering, and it also changes the font size a little bit. And so we're in section 4 because that was the last section we were in. And since it's the first subsection, it'll be 0.1. If we have another one, it'll be 4.2 and so on. And I wanted just to show you, if you do /paragraph, it actually will indent it further, and subparagraph will indent it even further. You may need this to show some emphasis. So there's one more thing that I'd like to show you in this lesson. is that you can actually change the numbering system as far as what it looks like. And so what you can do is a renew command, like I did in the beginning with the baseline stretch. And I'm going to say renew command, the section, and make it in Roman numerals. And it will stay that way, but it will still be in sequential order unless I reset the counter. So it's going to stay in sequential order until I change it back. So I will compile this. And as you see, it stayed the same section number, but it's a Roman numeral number 5 versus versus the Arabic number. And it will stay that way until I change it back to the Arabic sectioning. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on how to compile a LaTeX document, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.
Hi guys, just one quick message. I just posted on the chat the link for downloading all the material that Sue and Cheryl prepared for the workshop. There are example documents, there are all sorts of views of different document classes, and you can just log in your Overleaf account and click on the link that we sent, and that material will be shared with your Overleaf account. Then you can copy them over and edit them as you wish, modify them as you wish, and execute them. We're going to go into a short break and be back in about a couple of minutes, 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Sue DeMera. I'm here to
I mean, this small intervals are made off for people that want to have a break and you know, take a cup of coffee and come back to their computer. It's pretty hard to attend lectures like this for the whole day long, and you get overtired at the end of the day. The kind of media that we're using right now does not allow for a lot of interaction, does not allow for cues which are necessary for better, easier understanding of the lecture. And so that's why people in general would get very tired at the end of one of those sessions. So the breaks are made for, you know, people to just go out and then come back for the next one. So let's dip into the next one. Next one is by Sue DeMera on itemization. And, go into it.
Hi, this is Sue DeMera. I'm here to teach you about itemizing, enumerating, and nesting. Itemizing, enumerating, and nesting are ways that LaTeX can help you create various forms of lists. Now, a basic itemize, begin itemize, end itemize. Because like in LaTeX, for almost everything, there has to be a beginning and an end. And then for each line, you want to put \item, space, and then your text. And then when you compile it, it'll look like this. Let's create a new itemize. Okay, so notice we have begin itemize, end itemize, and then \item, and then the information.
Then you compile it and it'll look like this. Notice how neat the lines are, how neat they wrap around. Now, if you don't want to use a bullet, you can use any math or non-math symbol. You can, as long as you have the character that you want, has to be in brackets. And don't forget that if it's a math character, it has to be in dollar signs. Now here's an example of other symbols that you can use. So notice you have begin itemized, end itemized, and then item, open bracket, close bracket, and then whatever you want in the middle. Well, enumerating is the same, except it's numbers instead of bullets or whatever characters you want. So let's get in here. But let me show you something interesting. Let's say I don't want the number 1. I'm going to put bracket, alpha, and then close bracket. See, it'll put in the alpha, but notice how it starts over again with 1. So here's the code. And here is where you would put brackets, whatever character you wanted. Here's another example of enumeration, making the same change. And again, it wraps around so neatly. Nesting is a list within a list. You can use itemizing or enumerating, whichever one you want to use. You just have to be careful to keep track of the beginnings and the ends. So here's the code for this one that I just did. See, it's begin enumerate, end enumerate, begin enumerate, end enumerate, and then begin itemize, end itemize. You can also label and refer to these lines as well. So here's where it's referred to. Now create your own examples of nesting. Try changing bullets to other characters. I hope this lesson was helpful. Thank you.
We just finished the lesson on itemization, and let's walk into one of the other short breaks, and we'll continue pretty soon. Remind you that the link for getting a copy of all these documents into Overleaf account is posted on the chat. And Tom is correcting me to tell me that the link works without an account on Overleaf. I would hope not, but yes, you can get those now even before you get an Overleaf account. I would like to thank people Overleaf for providing the ability to share this with a large number of people, which is attending the conference with up to 40 people right now. And they provided the accounts that made this possible. Thanks again for this help. We're about to move into lesson 3 right now, which is
Hello, my name is Cheryl Punch, and I'd like to welcome you.
Cheryl talking about theorems, which is a very important piece of LaTeX. So let's walk into that.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Punch, and I'd like to welcome you back to the TUG 2020 Beginner's LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, we will be showing you how to construct theorems and show you how to do a proof. So, as always in LaTeX, you need the correct use package in order to get the correct output. In this instance, we're doing theorems. So, AMS theorem is the package that we need. So we're going to start with theorem style plain, and as we go through this document, I'll show you the different theorem styles. So it might be a little confusing. Everything is called new theorem, even if it's not actually called theorem. It can be called lemma, proposition, corollary, or a number of things. But new theorem is the definition that you use in order to produce the correct output. So in the first set of braces of this definition is what you want to put in your document as your begin and end environment. And the second set of braces is what's going to show up in your output. That is why it has a capital T. I have a new theorem of a lemma, and I have a new theorem of a proposition. A proposition I did a little differently. I have in square brackets the word section. So the square brackets shows that there's an extra argument, and this argument is going to be in the numbering system where you will have your proposition number, and then there will be a dot, and there will be the section that it is appearing in. So now that we've actually created our theorem environments, we're going to put them to use. So we will start with begin theorem, end theorem. Again, in LaTeX, everything has a backslash begin and a backslash end. So begin theorem, end theorem, and then I've added the proof. So the proof is, we don't have to actually add anything, just do begin proof, end proof. And the definition in the style files will produce the proof. It will always end with a proof box. It's a square bracket that you can change by changing a renew command of the QED symbol, but we're going to leave it in this lesson as the QED symbol. So this right here will produce this outcome. Theorem 1 in bold-faced and initial cap T. And the text will be in italicized font. The proof definition is the word proof is at italics and the text is in Roman font with the proof box at the end. Next, I'm going to add another theorem. I'm going to add a lemma, and I'm going to add a proposition. Now, remember with the proposition, I added an argument when I gave it the new theorem. So what's going to happen when you see this output is you're going to get theorem 2 because it's our second theorem. You're going to get lemma 1 because it's our first lemma. And you're going to get proposition 1 because it's our first proposition, happens to be in section 1. If it was in section 2, it would have a 2 after the proposition number. Now you can also add extra comments. Again, it's in square brackets, and that's right here, and it comes right after your begin of whatever you're using. In this sense, it's a theorem. So if I add that, it's going to come in parentheses. And if you notice that the period mark is after the parentheses because it's part of the theorem number. Now we're going to change the theorem style, and we're going to use theorem style definition. What's going to happen now is it's basically going to change the properties of the fonts. So what's going to happen is it's going to be definition is in boldface. However, the text, instead of being in italics font, the style file for definition is to create the text in Roman font. So now I have a new theorem, and I just called it notes because you can call it anything you want. But if you notice, I have an asterisk after the word theorem. So what that does is it suppresses the number. So an asterisk after either an equation or a section, it'll always suppress the number. So what's going to happen here is I'll show you this output. And notes right here does not have a number, but notation does because I did not suppress it when I created the new theorem. Now, if you'll notice, it's in boldface, but the font is also in Roman. The reason being is the last time I changed my style, I changed its definition. And so now I am in definition mode until I change it back to theorem style plain. There's another theorem style that I would like to show you, and it's theorem style remark. So I also now I did change my theorem style, and I did remark. And if you look at this here, it has the convention of the proof, which is in italics. It will number it because I did not suppress the numbering, and my text is in Roman. So that is the style file for remark. You can also change the numbering. I've shown in some other lessons. You do a renew command. So actually, we're going to tell it to renew command. We want to renew command just the lemma, and we want it to be in Roman numerals. So now I'm going to do begin lemma, end lemma. But what's going to happen to the numbering system is it's now going to be in a Roman numeral. And so this will continue to be Roman numerals until you change it. That's a quick lesson on theorems and how to create them. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
There's a lot of questions on the chat asking what is the interface that you guys are using?
I didn't know what to answer. I think I texted you. What are we supposed to say?
Oh, you say what you're using. I think it's a mix of Overleaf and TechMaker.
Oh, I was using TechMaker. I didn't know how to answer.
So yes, that's I see him sometimes. I think on the first set of slides, she showed you a little bit of Overleaf. And I think on the second slide, TechMaker. So it's a mix of Overleaf and TechMaker.
Okay, so that's how you answer it. Okay.
Oh, you can answer on the chat or you can answer online here. Everybody's listening to me.
Oh, you're listening. Okay, everyone, I'm sorry. I'm so new to this. I use TechMaker on my home computer. So that's what I was using because I had all of my use packages that I needed already loaded. That's why I showed you in the one lesson where I had to click PDF, and then mine has where BibTeX and a make index. So I just use that. I posted all of my stuff on Overleaf so everyone can take it and try it out. But for my private videos that I did for you guys, I used the TechMaker. Sue, I believe, go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, I did all of mine in TechMaker, excuse me, in Overleaf. And it seemed to work out really well. It was pretty user friendly, so.
I should add that the TechMaker is available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. And Overleaf is a cloud application. It's available on the web, and you can use it from any browser. It will provide its own setup for tech, and you don't have to download any software onto your machine. Just go to overleaf.com, open an account, and you can be teching in the next minute. I should say you can be texting. Is that correct, Boris? And but I should say also that there is a host of interfaces out there. Likes is another one, and several other ones that people prefer on Macintoshes and that people prefer on Linux and on Windows.
In Linux, I use Emacs. There's also gedit will work just as well, but I prefer Emacs. That's what I use when I'm working at work. At home, my Windows, so I use the TechMaker. And it's very easy to download, no problems.
I use the Linux as well at work. And our ITs and everybody have everything set up for us. But it works really well. but I've been happy with the overlays at home.
I should add that TAC is one of the oldest programs of continuous existence in the world right now. There is one which is slightly older, which is the operating system, which is in the Voyager spacecraft out there outside space. And TAC, starting in 1977, is one of the second oldest systems in the
Paolo,
Uh-huh.
Paolo, I would rather disagree with you. When I started working for Goddard Space Flight Center, my first assignment was support of a program which would calculate what a satellite would see below on the Earth's surface. And when I looked at the timestamps, I understood that most of this program was written much before I was born. So sometime in 1950s, just after the first Soviet satellite was started, they were very much interested what it would see on American soil. So, and this program, as far as I know, is still in working order, still works, and they still employ it at NASA.
No. I do agree with that, and there are many football systems being used by banks and to transfer money and all that kind of stuff, which are still in use. But the question, the big question is, does it have a broad user base?
Yeah, I would say, I would say TEC is one of the oldest open source programs, because all these programs we are talking about, like in banks or in NASA or in some other bowels of military industrial complex, are very much closed source.
Yeah, and as such, as being such an old program that produces pure beauty, in one of those PDF files which is produced by TEC, you agree that it's pure beauty. It was run from the command line, from what most people know today as CLI, command line interface. And so you would write your TEC file from, it didn't matter where you use for writing your TEC file. My first TEC file I wrote in something called EBCDIC, and which was awful. And but then after that, I would be able to issue my commands, as Cheryl and Sue have explained to you over the last few slides, and be able to produce what was back then a DVI file. Today it's mostly a PDF file, but that was able to put the characters in the right place, the fonts in the correct place, and do the interlinking and the renumbering of all bibliography, of all sections and so forth for me, and produce my document. And all of that was done by the command line interface. IDEs are very popular right now, and there are many of them to choose to work with TEC. In fact, there are standard IDEs right now which are used for programming. We use for programming Java and other languages, which are being extended to be able to write TEC files. And so you won't have lack of choice of getting a command line interface or getting an IDE to run TEC or to run LaTeX. We're going to go into a brief intermission and come back for tables and figures with Sue DeMerit. Just a brief interval.
Hi, this is Sue DeMerit. We're going to be learning Hi, this is Sue DeMerit. we're going to be learning about basic tables and then putting them in the table environment. Okay, we're going to be creating a table using the tabular environment, and we'll take the tabulars and put them into table and figure environments. This will allow you to have more control in your document of where your table or figure goes. It also allows you to add a caption and label it so you can refer to it later on in your document. Okay, this is a code for just a basic beginner's table. So you have begin tabular and tabular. In the curly braces, you're telling it how many columns you want. And you do that by telling it how you want each column justified. So it means I want 3 columns, and I want the first one left, and then center, and then right justified. Then you put your information in. In between each piece of information, you have to have an ampersand. Then your carriage return and end tabular. And when you compile it, it comes out like this. Notice that this column is all left justified. This is center and right. Okay, this is information about a table. Okay, so we have basic begin table, an H, which means you want it here, right where you're putting it in your document. Begin center and center. Now begin tabular. Now here I'm going to have 5 columns. So I want them to be left, center, right, center, center. I put in my information with ampersands, afterwards character term, and tabular, then I caption it, and then I label it, and center, and table. And when I compile it, this is how it comes out. Now we're going to do a figure. Okay, we do begin figure, end figure. It's basically the same as a table. It'll just give you the caption of a figure. So begin tabular, all the same information. End tabular, caption. You can label it, and then you combine it, compile it, and it comes out like this. And here you can make the reference over here to the table or the figure. Okay, now we're going to start adding lines. Okay, now I'm going to have the begin figure and end figure. And notice here I have brackets T, which means I want it at the top. So you can see where it is. So I'm telling it that I want double lines on the columns to the left side of it and to the right side of it, and single lines in between each one. Then I want a horizontal line. I'll put in my information with the ampersands and the character returns, and each line and tabular, and then I'll do my caption and my labeling and end figure. And then when I compile it, here it is, right where I asked it to put it. Okay, now we're going to do begin figure, but at the bottom. I've done begin figure, brackets B, the begin center and center, everything in your tabular. Then you caption it, label it, and because I want it at the bottom, here it is, just like that. Now in this information here, this is going to be the table on the next page. But again, this is just a tabular. So I have the double lines on either side and double lines in between. Is that like that? Now we're going to create a table using multi-column. You get in here, you see that in this table, it has 2 columns, but the first line, you don't want any lines, you just want it to cover the whole table. So what you're going to do is you have your begin center and center, and then you have your H line. Now for the multi-column, you're telling it that you want it to go over 2 lines. You want it centered with a vertical line on each side, and then the text, and then the H line, and then the rest of this is like you would in a tabular. When you compile it, it comes out like this. Now, we're going to use a C line to change the length of a specific line in your table. Okay, now, so have begin tabular and tabular. Now, here are the first 2 lines, here and here. Now, you decide that you don't want a horizontal line in between here. You just want it to be over these 3 lines. So what you're going to do is you're going to do \C line, and it doesn't wants the line to go over columns 2 through 4. So it's 2, 3, 4, and there's the line. I hope these have been helpful. Thank you for participating.
Do you two want to say something? Can I take over for a few minutes?
Yep, go right
Go,
ahead.
go ahead.
So I was in the previous interval, I was talking about the origins of tech and why it started out as command line interface, CLI, and now these days are moving to IDEs, and you see these IDEs all over the place, like you see in Cheryl's and Sue's lessons. The origins of the command line interface rely on the fact that computers at that time did not have IDEs and were not able to do much on the surface of the screen, and everything was directly from the prompt. The wishes that out of where tech was born was to be able to produce excellent output, high quality output in paper at that time, so that you would be able to read nice piece of mathematics and nice pieces of text and be able to produce this, issuing commands for locating the pieces of texts and the pieces of mathematics in a particular location in the paper. This was mostly due to the fact that we're trying to mimic an operation of a beautiful machine called linotype at the time. Linotypes were machines that were introduced at the end of the 19th century and were most manufactured out of Germany, and was literally the producer of almost every good newspaper and almost every good book in the world during the first half of the 20th century. And it was a job in high demand to be a manager of a linotype. The New York Times in New York had the biggest team of linotype typesetters, and the whole newspaper was typeset on the linotype. And then after the war, as the 60s came into, these machines were started being phased out. The maintenance was extremely expensive. It was all functioning in lead, and this lead forms were loaded into machines that run the newspapers and run the books. And by 1970, it was already rare to see a linotype in action. These days, there's a handful of them working throughout the world. There are beautiful movies. There's a couple of very beautiful movies. I'll try to put the links for you on there that you can see how this machine work. And Knuth created this program literally to produce the high quality output similar to the high quality output that the Linotype was able to produce. And this was achieved through these commands that you're seeing Sue and Cheryl explain to you. These commands, they work together to put the text in the right points in the page. After the advent of TEC, TEC came up live with a couple of other programs that were used for this stuff, and one of them was TIROFF, and some of them have lost their usage base. They still work to this date, but they lost their usage base, and TEC became the favorite for a high quality output, and it continues to be developed by this group of this community worldwide, and there are features in it today which cannot be mimicked by any other program in existence right now. One of them being microtypography, which sort of adjusts the text and the page so that will fit properly by adjusting the sizes of the fonts and the space in between the characters and the space in between the words. InDesign tries to do it according to some well-known algorithms, but it is extremely hard to get this working properly, and TEC has been doing this for a good amount of the last 20 years of the existence of the microtype package. And you achieve this added beauty by adding certain classes of packages to your document. So let's go again into a brief intermission and come back for another lesson, which right now is going to be on bibliography.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Ponch, and welcome back to the TUG2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, I will be showing you how to do references in part 1. Okay, so part 1 is showing you how to do bibliographies in the actual text itself. Part 2, I'll be showing you BibTeX. So if you want to use the references inside your paper and only use them for just this specific paper, you can do an environment, which is the bibliography. So you would do a \bin, begin, the bibliography, and then \end, the bibliography. You notice I have 99 in these braces. That means if you have double digits in your numbers up to 99, it will line up correctly with the period. So in order to do this is very simple. You do bib item and you give it a label. And then you typeset your references. You do need to tell it what fonts you want if you want to change the font. Such as if you're doing an article, it's usually italics fonts, you would do the text IT. So the way you do this in your paper is you'll do \cite. So it's the same reference type as label and ref, except your label here is in your bib item and your cite is sort of like your reference. So What we're going to do now is this is what you would typeset in your document where you want your bibliographies to show up. And it's going to have the definition of this. It's going to show the word references, and then it will show your bibliographies. But in order for this to work, we'll put a cite in. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to uncomment this line, and I'm going to put this cite in. And I've actually typeset this here. I've actually typeset 2 of them, and I'll show you what happens. So I'm going to save my file, and I'm going to do a quick build. Okay. So if you'll notice, I ran it once. What happens is it's showing it up here because it's in an environment. However, in your paper, it's not showing the actual reference, just a question mark, because it sees that there's a site there, but it doesn't know what to do with it. I will do another PDF LaTeX, and your site number will show up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do add-in. If you don't want your reference to show up in your text itself, but you just want it to show up in your reference list, then just type it as another bib item. If you do want it to show up in your text, again, you'll do \cite, and your labels will match. PDF LaTeX this paper, and it's automatically because I've already run it once with this in here. I didn't have to run it twice. And that's basically it for doing the bib items in your paper. So just a quick review, you will do your environment of the bibliography. You will do a bib item with a label name. You will cite it in your paper, how the same as your label, and you will run PDF LaTeX. You may have to run it more than once, and then you'll get your output with the word references and your bibliographies. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to see you in part 2 to show you how to do BibTeX.
I hope you guys seen Ulrich Fischer just joined us on the chat, and she's saying some of the questions people are coming up with. This is nice. Thanks so much, Ulrich. This module that Cheryl showed us, it's tremendously powerful. One starts using bibliographies by just listing the names and the titles and the volume and the year, and then citing it and having everything appear in the place and being organized in place. But the power of programming bibliographies is being extended every day in TeX and LaTeX. On Saturday, we're going to have an interview with a guy that works deeply into this material, Philip Keim. And he's the author of Biber, the current maintainer of BibLaTeX, which are ways that these bibliographies have been extended in the New World. When BibTeX was created, literally only alphabets from A to Z and numbers from 0 to 9 were allowed to be used in the bibliographies. And as such, special characters and special languages and so forth were completely out. Philip Keim and a bunch of other people extended this, and you can do absolutely beautiful things with bibliographies right now, allowing people to click on a link on what they're seeing and having that particular document being found on the internet and at your fingertips. This is something that was introduced in the literature literally by TeX. It's being mimicked by other programs right now that do typesetting of books, but literally TeX was the first one to introduce programmable bibliographies into its aspect. So let's have a brief interval right now, and we're going to come back to yet one more lesson, which is going to be part 2 of the bibliography stuff with continuing with Cheryl.
we have one question in our Q&A from Angel Zetina, whether the recordings will be available after the workshop, and what are the plans.
My,
I don't know how to answer that.
my plans is, with permission from Sue and Cheryl, I'd like to make this in-time material available.
Yes, yes, you can.
So yes, sure. You know, they're the authors. You know, the authors have the ultimate destiny on the material they produce. And this question is, by the way, coming from Belize. Have you ever been to Belize?
No, but my husband wants to go.
Yeah. It's,
okay.
After I
okay,
retire.
So, yeah. Okay, let me say this. The recordings will be available, and there will be a special autographed edition which will be delivered in person by Sue and Cheryl in Belize.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So moving over to part 2.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Punch, and welcome back to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. Hello, I'm Cheryl Punch, and welcome back to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, I'm going to do references part 2 and show you how to use BibTeX. So the advantage of using BibTeX is that you're going to create your bibliography entries in sort of a database type file. It's going to have an extension .bib added. And all your entries will be in these one bib file or many bib files, which you can incorporate into your document. The difference between the bibliography and the bibliography and using BibItem is you're basically just using those references in that specific paper. And with the BibTeX, you can use it over multiple documents. So that is one huge advantage. Also, in BibTeX, the fields that you'll fill in will automatically do the correct fonts, such as article will have an italicized title. So if you want to do that in BibItem, you have to actually remember which titles get italicized and which do not. So that is another advantage for BibTeX. Both of them use \cite. So you have your label name, which is your BibItem label name or your label name in BibTeX, and you cite it using that same label name inside the braces. If you don't want your reference to show up in your text of your document, however, you want it in your reference list, then you would do a \no_cite with the label name, and it will show up in your reference list, but it will not show up in your actual document text. So you'll be adding files that create these entries. So I'm going to show you. I've created a miscellaneous.bib file. And in this miscellaneous.bib file, I have an @miscellaneous, an open brace, and a close brace. Just like everything else in LaTeX, you have a begin and an end. So in this, we have fields. So I have field author equals. In this instance, I have quotes and a comma. A comma ends each field. A new field is started with an equal sign, and a comma ends the field. So in this example, I'm using quote marks. And I'm going to show you another example with braces. It doesn't matter which you use, as long as you start one and end one. Another thing to remember is that in the title, the first letter of the first word is initial capped, and everything else is lowercase. So if you need something to be uppercase, you need to put it in a second set of braces. Now, even if you use braces instead of quotes, you still have to use the braces around the capital words, or else it won't show up properly. So what I'm going to also show you is, this is the same entry that I just showed you. You're going to have a bibliography style mentioned. I'm going to start with plain, and then I'm going to show you the other style files that I discussed in the overview. And then the second bibliography. And in the braces is the file that you're adding. does have a .bib extension. However, you don't need to have that .bib extension here. It knows because it's in this bibliography line that the .bib is added to it. Now, and what you need to do, what you're going to have to PDF the LaTeX. I'll explain. So you're going to PDF LaTeX your file, and it's going to see that you have a backslash. Produce brackets. You're going to check your file. This is actually going to run to show that you're going to get your miscellaneous .bib or whatever file you have in there, and it's going to find the entry that you cited in your paper or no cited. Then you will PDF LaTeX your file again, and you will still get the question mark because just like when we did our table of contents, it finds it and then it has to produce it. So the first time it finds it, the second PDF LaTeX, it produces it. And that's for your viewing. So I have over here bibliography style plain, and I'm going to add my site right here. So I am going to update my file, and I'm going to PDF LaTeX my file. And the output is showing a question mark because it found a site, did not know what to do with it. Now I'm going to BibTeX the file. And down here in the log file, you'll see that it's actually processing my miscellaneous.bib. It's adding it to the database. Now I'm going to PDF LaTeX my file again. And I will show you my output. I still have a question mark because it knows that I have it now, but it didn't place it. So I'm going to PDF LaTeX it again. And now it placed it. And if you look, I have a reference now. So now I want to add another one. So I have added an articles.bib. So I did something different here is I added a string. So let's say you have authors and their names are difficult to spell. And some might have a middle initial, some might not. So you can actually make it a string. So now you're referencing the string and it equals. And in these set of braces is what your output will look like. So now I have at article, my open brace, my close brace. I have my author equals. You notice I don't have any quotes or braces around here. And I use braces instead of quotes to show you the difference. Because everything in the brace or the quotes is literal. And you don't want C. Ponchen to be literal. You want it to come out of Cheryl Ponchen. So it knows that if it has something here without any of the quotes, it's going to find the string name and it's going to put it in. So now what we want to do is we want to put it in our file. So I'm going to now add my reference. Which is site function 1, which is what I labeled it. But now it's not going to find it unless I actually put that bibliography in here. So I'm adding my articles. Oh, this should be a comma. Okay, now I'm going to update my file and PDF LaTeX my file because I've altered my file. And I will show you the output. And the output has another question mark for this new reference. So now I have to BibTeX my file, go through the same procedure. And I will have to PDF LaTeX my file. And of course, there it is. It showed up here, but I need to PDF LaTeX it again and show you my output to give it the number. So now you have two different references. So now I'm going to show you to change the style files. So I'm going to comment out this style file, and I'm going to change it to the alpha style file. So I will update my file and PDF LaTeX it. And I will BibTeX it. And I will PDF LaTeX it twice. And you notice now, my references look a little bit different. So if you have more than one author, it will give you the first initial of each last name and the year. If you only have one author, it will give you the first 3 letters of the name and the year. So now I'm going to, the unsort actually is going to basically come out the same as our plain. It will sort it differently if you have many files, but it's going to put it back with the numerals. So now I'm going to show you the abbreviation. I will change my file. I will bibtec my file. And I will PDF LaTeX my file twice. And now you'll see, no matter, even though I put my first name in, what's going to happen is it's going to show up as my first initial because we asked it to do the abbreviation. So that's basically how you do BibTeX. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to see you in our next lesson.
Let's walk into our little intermission and then come back for more with now how to do simple mathematics with Sue. Next lecture. Some people on the net interested in reading what kind of books I have here in the back. So
I am trying to answer this question. I'm not doing very well.
which one? Which one you want to get?
They said to use YAML format. I've never heard of that. So I'm trying to click. Do I type answer first and then click?
Well, you can answer to the whole group, or you can answer to the person.
Yes, I'd like the group, but I don't know. This question has been answered live, but I don't think I really did answer it live.
Which one?
I'm sorry.
What's the name of the person? Aman?
A.M. Aman.
Yes. This is more like a suggestion instead of a question about the
Yeah.
format.
I've never heard of that, so I didn't know. Do I just click type answer?
Yeah, you can type answer, and if you type answer, if you click on type,
Okay.
it will allow you to type and get back to him.
And send, okay.
Yeah, it's no. I mean, his suggestion is right.
Yeah.
It's right on target. You know, using YAML and JSON is the future, and
Gotcha.
a lot of that is going on Bibliotech right now. And
is it?
Yeah, and if you come back, Aman, on Saturday, you'll be able to ask the question live to Philip Keim, and so it's our purpose here is sort of to be very introductory to BibTeX, to introduce your first bibliography when you type it, separating the things, putting the author, putting the volume, putting the title, and so forth, like Cheryl showed you. And then, there is one of the beauties of tech is that tech can be expanded, it can be enhanced, and it can be augmented in many different formats, many different ways that didn't exist back then in 1977 when was what was drafted and planned, and but it made provision for things that didn't exist back then. And so today we're able to put a link on a PDF file. Links didn't exist, PDF files didn't exist back then. But all of this is possible in tech because of this. And one day we'll be using YAML and JSONs in order to keep our bibliographies accurately and correct. And if you want to do that, it's just a question of putting your feet in the mud and getting up to it and doing it. Start slowly and grow up to it. But yeah, he's perfectly correct. It's a very good suggestion.
Well, I learned something new today.
I mean, if you take a hint from publishers, and the publishers tend to be extremely conservative with what kind of manuscripts they accept and what kind of stuff they accept. And they insist on very plain bibliography. I mean, Boris knows about that. And if you show up with a very fancy bibliography, you don't get by the gate. They want something very plain, very simple, very easy, maintainable, and that will exist in the near future. And they aren't sure about a few things. And this is one of the things that we're going to be talking with Philip Keim. How can we push publishers into, I don't want to give away any questions of the interview, but how can we push publishers to accept more in terms of programmable bibliographies which do more. But this is a very, they tend to stick to exactly what Cheryl was showing here. They tend to stick to the very nitty, simple stuff. Not don't put foreign characters on your bibliography, because if you do it, no one's going to know how to sort it. Sorting things that start with A, B, C is very easy, but sorting things that start with a Chinese character, the Japanese character, or even Greek isn't all that simple. It's very simple to say where alpha stands up on the order of things within Greek, but not within Roman, not if you mix it with other things. So then they try to push very simple and to do exactly what she showed in here. So staying simple in the beginning is a must. So let's walk into the next lecture, which is Sue with simple mathematics.
Hi, this is Sue Demerit. We're going to Hi, this is Sue Demerit. We're going to be learning about creating simple mathematics and equations using logic. To create mathematics, you have to put it in math mode. Math mode consists of putting your equation in dollar signs, or your characters, whatever you have. If you want to display it, you're going to put it in double dollar signs on each side of the equation. You can also use backslash left bracket and backslash right bracket, and that will do the same thing as the double dollar signs. As you can see here, and it creates the displayed equation. There's an equation, displayed equation using double dollar signs, and it comes out the same way. Now, if you type this line and the numbers or the letters are in dollar signs, it's going to come out like this. So it's in math mode, it's italicized. Now a dollar sign, a double dollar sign using a fraction will come out the same way. And here with the brackets, 5 plus 5 and a binomial coefficient. Subscripts are used a lot in mathematics. We have x sub 1, x sub 1 plus 2, and x super 1 plus 2 in braces. And this is how they come out. X sub 1, x sub 1 plus 2, and then x super 1 plus 2. Now, if you decided here that you wanted the 1 plus 2 together, you would do the subscript and put the 1 plus 2 in curly braces and would bring it to the bottom like this is at the top. Okay, when you type your equation, it's automatically going to put an equation number when it's in begin equation and equation. And then you can give it a label so you can refer to it later on in your document. If you don't want a number, you can put the statement / no number at the end of the equation, and then it'll just come out like this. Another way to make sure that there's no number is to use begin equation star and end equation star. And again, it goes like that, it shows up like this, and there's no equation number. Now, just like tables and figures, you can label and reference your equations. You refer to equation 2, and it looks like this. When you refer to your equation, you're going to use \eqref, and then in curly braces, you have whatever you want to name it. And when you use it in your text, it's going to automatically come out with parentheses around it like this. Okay, now we're going to talk about aligning equations. Here's a simple align. I don't want an equation number, so I'm just going to put the star next to it. Now, notice with the align, I have to tell it with an ampersand where I want it to align. And then I compile it and it aligns right here. Now, sometimes if you have a long equation, it goes off the page, and that's not very attractive in your document. So what you can do is you can break it up. So you put the first part of the equation, and you're going to put a carriage return, and then put the second part of the equation. And it looks like this, which is much more attractive than the whole thing going off this side. Okay, now we're going to talk about arrays. Now, similar to tabulars in our table section, it's begin array. It has where you put the number of columns and where you want them positioned and any lines you want. So here's your equation. And then here comes the output. Puts everything in math, and it's very attractive. Now here's begin array and end array. It's the same idea where you tell it where you want to go. Here it's center, 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 and it'll turn out like this. Now, you can add delimiters to your equations. The delimiters are, for example, parentheses around an equation. But not all equations are just on one line. Some of them are on 2 lines, some of them are even bigger than that. So what you would do is you would use \left and \right. So here in our equation, \left open paren and then \right close paren, and it'll come out like this. So if you want an equation that does not have a right hand parenthesis, you would go left parenthesis, and then when you get to the right, you just do \right period. That's telling LaTeX that there is nothing on the right, and it comes out like this. You can do the same thing on the left-hand side, where you have \left period and \right brace. Now you can also use \big and \bigg. The difference between those and the right and the left is the big and the bigg are specific sizes, as opposed to the left and the right, which creates the specific size that is needed for the equation. For example, here we do big open paren, and then n do big right paren. This is what comes out. That's not what we want. So what you're going to do is do left open paren and right close paren. So then you'll have the same equation, but it'll have parentheses around it. LaTeX has a lot of accents that it uses. One of the ones I use the most, which I will share with you, is typesetting the word naive. It's supposed to have the little umlaut on top of the I. So this is what you would typeset. NA/ open quote sign, curly brace, \I, close curly brace, and then VE, and it comes out like this. Okay, now binomial coefficients. When you type a binomial coefficient, it'll come out with the parentheses automatically around it. When you typeset it, you're going to put your double dollar signs and then \binom, and then there's two arguments. The first one is what you want on top and which one you want on the bottom of your equation. Now, you can put more than one number, whatever you need, on in each argument. For example, here we have the binomial coefficient, and then the first set of braces is a fraction. And then the second set of braces is n+1. So you compile it and you get the fraction here on top and n+1 on the bottom, and it automatically puts in the parentheses. There are various operators that are used in LaTeX. Here is an example of how you would use them. Here's another example. Notice I have the in parentheses or in braces, I have lim, subscript, open brace, close brace, and then I have X right arrow 0, and it shows up underneath the lim. Then we have ellipses, which are dots. Here, you put your equation \dots, and then we finish it up with this. You can use L dots for lower dots, D dots for center dots, V dots for vertical dots, etc. If you need to type an integral, you'll type the \int, and then if you have a superscript or a subscript, you can add that in and then the rest of the equation, and when you compile it, it looks like this. Now there are times when we use the sum sign. Now if you just put it in display mode and you have some sub n, then when you display mode, the n will come down here underneath. And then the x plus 2 and the rest of your equation. Now, you can also use sum in text. And you type it with the single dollar signs, and then it shows up like this. Notice the subscript is not underneath like it is in display. All right, now we have matrices. Now with matrices, you begin matrix, end matrix in double dollar signs, and then you put each entry with an ampersand in between. And it comes out like this. Notice each row is centered. Then you have a P matrix, which does basically the same thing. It just puts in parentheses like this. You can also, besides a P matrix, putting in parentheses, you can use a B matrix for brackets, V matrix for vertical, capital B for braces, capital V for double vertical lines. Now we have arrays. An array is similar to a tabular, and it can be used for math. So we're begin array and end array, and then that's how it shows up. Now, a lot of times when you're typesetting, you'll get errors. LaTeX will do its best to let you know what the error is. A lot of times it's forgetting an extra dollar sign, or you have too many dollar signs, or a brace. Sometimes it's not even easy to tell what the problem is. If you miss a brace, the error will come up saying you're missing a brace or a dollar sign, and it'll give you the line number. But sometimes that's not even where the error is. Sometimes it's further up. So here we have, here's the equation. And it comes out like this. Now we're gonna type an incorrect one. So we have the same equation. And then it's gonna give you a, gonna tell you you're missing something. And the error is that there is no closing curly brace on the right arrow right here. Trying to find errors, it's sometimes it takes some time to find it. Sometimes you have to search it out and figure out what it is, but you'll eventually find it. So I hope this was a help to you. If you need any more help, Cheryl and I are available on Thursday to answer any questions with the chat. Thank you very much.
Hi. Just to give some closure in the particular question that Aman put out. One of the biggest problem, Aman, with adopting a new standard, I mean, there are better standards for doing bibliography, no doubt about it. I mean, if you explore Zotero, for example, you see a wealth of representation. You see Mendeley and many other people that deal with bibliography formats and what has happened over the last 30 years on that. But BibTeX is a very, very old format. I think it dates back to probably 1980, 1981, 1982. And things in tech tend to change very slowly in terms of format, mostly because we want to preserve, we want to be able to process that bibliography, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and obtain exactly the same result. I'm able to take a quiz that I generated in my first year of graduate school in 1982 and retech it and re-LaTeX it and no errors whatsoever and obtain exactly the same thing that I had back then. I would say almost exactly the same thing, but so preservation is an extremely important issue. Preservation doesn't quite exist in the world of EPUB, for example. But tech has a very definite path, and one of them is being very conservative on the input formats and changing it very slowly. Input formats have changed. For example, LaTeX 2E did some changes on input format. LaTeX 3 is probably going to do something, and we're going to have an opportunity to see this in the conference in a talk by Frank Mittelbach, which is literally labeled Quo Vadis LaTeX 3, where LaTeX 3 is really going. And that involves a little bit of change of format, but the essentials in general, I mean, these people are making a tremendous effort. The LaTeX 3 team is making tremendous effort to be able to process existing material that has been produced under LaTeX. So that's why BBTech is probably going to exist forever with the format that it is right now, and other formats are going to be added. And BiblioTech already processes bibliography produced in YAML and then uses JSON to process it. And so if you're interested in that, explore some of the projects which are related to it. But the center main point of BBTech is going to stay the same in order to be able to produce heritage content. I wanted to also address very quickly one of the things that Sue brought about, which is how do you find the origin of your mistakes or the source of your mistakes in a LaTeX file? Especially if you're producing a formula and you haven't closed the brace, and that brace is extremely important. And some braces are not all that important, and all they're going to produce is going to produce an output that looks different. So you can just go look at the output and go back and fix the brace very quickly. LaTeX has a set of messages which are, which give you an indication of the area where it is. Sometimes it is text a programming language, by the way. So sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes the error could be, 5, 10, 50 lines before that, and only you've seen it at a certain point in time. Hopefully, by the time you get to this big errors like that, that you versed enough on that you're able to track it down. One big problem is getting headers from people that you just met and gives you a big header and a big file, and it generates a big problem, and you don't know how to do it because you're just beginning in it. That's very, putting off a bit. In general, you should use some of the resources at your point. I mean, there's Stack Exchange, which you can put your questions out there. So if you don't understand how something is working, there's people eager to go there and respond to it. We're going to have several talks about in the conference about how to learn LaTeX online, how to get answers to questions, top answers to your questions, top tech. I would like to invite you to attend the full conference. on tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, and see some of these beautiful talks that are gonna come up. It is an important issue. Sometimes debugging tech takes me a certain amount of time, which is inappropriate amount of time, but it's worth to go there and do it and do it the right way. One of the techniques that I use sometimes when it's very hard is to something that mathematicians call hunting a lion in a desert. Hunting a lion in a desert is a technique by which you suppose you have a lion in a desert, and you need to hunt that lion, and then you need to apprehend that lion. And what you do is, the desert is a space which is too big, and you break it in half. And then once you break it in half, you find out where the lion is. And then you do it again, take that half and break it in half and find out if lion is in the first half or the second half. And then you concentrate on that half where the lion is. And then you break it again until you get to a point where you have a very small place and the lion is in that particular place. So you doing that with tech is very effective. You know, you just, if you could, just make a copy of your file and chop it up. You know, if you don't know what it is and the message is not allowing you to look for what it is, you know, take parts of it out and process a little bit. And if it still produces error, process more a bit. You know, try to check what the error message says, and go until you nail a very small file which contains the error. That small file is in general called a small working example that shows the problem, and is the first step in obtaining an MWE, a minimal working example, which people in Stack Exchange mention all the time. If you see that, oh, produce an MWE and send it over to me. MWE is a minimal working example that shows the problem. So if you're trying to reproduce a Greek character, or you're trying to reproduce a bigger integral sign and you can't get a bigger integral sign than you have right now, try to produce a small, very small file that produces the problem, and that is called an MWE, a minimal working example. So those are techniques. You know, of course, the IDEs have ways to have some certain ways to track the problems and show you the line where the problem exists. Some IDEs are even more elaborate and show lack of matching braces, lack of matching parentheses, lacking of closing commands, and so forth, and point that to you as you type in the text. So you start typing, Emacs does that, you know, it highlights the text and shows you, you know, where you probably missing a brace and so forth. So there are several things to learn as you learn tech. Will keep you busy with the tech, but you know, you could go and get a lot of stuff on the side and learn those as well. So let's go to brief intermission again, and then come back to a very important piece, which is footnotes and index with Cheryl.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Punch, and I'd like Hello, my name is Cheryl Punch, and I'd like to welcome you back to the TUG2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, I will show you how to produce a table of contents, do some footnotes, and indexing. Okay, in order to create your table of contents, you need to add a / table of contents line. When you PDF LaTeX your file, it will look at this line and it will produce a table of contents with all of the automatically numbered sections and subsections. There is a way also to add something that is an unnumbered section, and I will go over that as well. So what you'll do is you will put this table of contents line in your paper, just like here, exactly where you want the table of contents to show up. And so when you produce your document, you're going to get your table of contents. Now I've already produced this, so they're already going to be a table of contents. However, if you add something, you're going to have to run this twice in order for it to find it. The first time, just like when we labeled in reference, the first time it will find it, the second time it will actually produce it and put it into your document. But before we do that, we might want to add some extra text. So in order to add extra text, you need to add a contents line. So it's very simple. It's add contents line. There are 3 separate areas here that you have to fill in. The first set of braces is the TOC, which means you're adding it to the TOC file, which is your table of contents file. The second set of braces has the word subsection here. The subsection means I want it in the format that you show a subsection in the table of contents. And in the third set of braces will be the actual text that you want to show up. And I'm also going to show you here, remember we had numbered sections. Now this section will not automatically go into the table of contents because there is no number associated with it to put it there. However, you can add this in the same format by doing an add contents line, telling it to add to the TOC. This time I'm going to add it to section. So what it's going to happen is it's going to come out in boldface and left justified. So if we look at our table of contents, we're going to see that as our output. We have right here, this extra text is in the same font size and font itself of subsection. And it does have your dots as if it was a subsection and your number. If you do have this section that does not have a number, what you can do is add, like I said, add contents line. And here in this instance, we set it to do section. So it's boldface and over to the left justified. However, it is not numbered because there is no number associated with it. And basically that's it for your contents. Now let's say if we add a new one, what's going to happen is you will have to produce your file and then you will have to produce it a second time in order for it to actually show up. Next, I'm going to show you how to create some footnotes. Footnotes are very simple as well. There's also already a definition for footnotes, and it's \footnote. And in a set of braces, you type whatever you want inside that footnote. So what's going to happen when we build this file is it's going to create a horizontal line on the bottom of your page, and it will show you the number 1 and the footnote. When you do this again, if you have another footnote in your file, it will also number sequentially as 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are ways to change your footnote. Instead of having it numeral, you can change it into a symbol, and I will show you that in another lesson. Now, I also want to show you that you can do some indexing. So indexing is a little bit different where you have to add an extra use package. So in order to use that, you need to do make index use package, or else this will not produce properly. And then you have to type in \make index. Then throughout your paper, you will see that I wrote the word \index, and that's the definition that you need to use. And in a set of braces, what you want to show up in your index. It can be one word, it can be uppercase, it can be several words, and it can be lowercase, but whatever you show in the set of braces is going to show up in your index. Also, for your index to show up, you need to provide the word print index. You can do all of this, run all the programs, and if you don't do print index, it's not going to show up in your file. However, this is going to be a little bit different in the checking part of this file, because what we need to do is you need to PDF LaTeX your file, which is going to be just the file that we have. Then you will need to make index. Now, depending on your editor that you're using, this one, of course, I can just click make index. You might have to type it physically. But anyway, in any sense, you need the make index program to be run. And you'll see here in the log file that it's telling me that it is generating my, has 3 entries accepted and 0 rejected, because I did 3 and all of them were okay. So now I'm going to, now if I view the PDF, you're not really going to see them yet. And I'm going to now run PDF LaTeX. And I'm going to run it again. And I'm going to view my file. And here is my index. So it will put it in alphabetical order, and it will put the page number that's associated to whatever you had in your index. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.
Okay, I'd like to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
So with the table of contents and the indexing and the footnotes, I just gave you a basic. You can get very, very involved and very detailed in creating your indexing and your a little bit more with your table of contents as well. But for these lessons, I just wanted to give you the basics on how to get something in there. But I would suggest that you do a search either on the TUG page or some other search on the powerfulness that these programs have. But in the beginner's lesson, of course, we're just showing you just the basics. So I just wanted you to know it's very powerful.
Yes, I can attest to that. I mean, there are, if you go and pick up a few packages that deal with indexes, you can see how beautiful they can be made, how can beautifully they can be arranged. I recently was doing an index for electronic books and paper books for the International Congress of Mathematicians, and very complex index. Many, there was about 1,200 authors involved, and
Wow.
many different countries. Some of them wanted to have their names represented in the local languages, local scripts, Arabic, Chinese, Chinese, Japanese, and Arabic. And so it's, but indexing the index of tech has the ability, with the extensions that have been added by people, to handle such a task, to handle such a work. On Saturday, we'll have an interview also with Javier Bezos, and Javier works out of Madrid, and he is responsible for one of the most used packages in LaTeX, which is the package Babel, which allows you to write a particular book in another language, a particular article in another language, and have chapter being changed to chapitre if you are in French, or capítulo if you are in Portuguese and so forth. And he also does lots of packages that allows you to change the appearance of a book. And with a view of printing a nice a book. And we will have some questions for him on that kind of stuff as well. How does he handle you know, the many necessities of many different languages in indexing and in preparing good stuff and so forth.
Right.
And that sort of testifies to the ability of tech that it has exactly the same code as Bacchus in 1977 and still be extended and adopt all this beauty that we want to put inside. So,
Yes.
next one is going to be Cheryl continuing with the lesson on how do you put graphics in tech, not something you want to miss because it's a very specific corner in tech, you know, and I want to put a plug in here after she finishes her talk about my own talk, where I'm going to talk about how you label graphics that you put in tech. And that's going to happen sometime tomorrow. Before the end of the day, I think is the very last lecture tomorrow. So let's move over to Cheryl with a lesson on graphics.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Con. I'm Cheryl Conch, and welcome back to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. In this lesson, I'm going to show you some graphics. So in order to begin here, we're going to add some use packages. You've already seen the use package graphic X. That is needed for both of these. And then we're also going to add a use package TXE because I'm going to do a TXE picture environment. So I'm going to do 2 picture environments. So the first picture environment is the LaTeX picture environment. And I'm giving it my units here, 10 by 10. And I'm telling it to put something at 0, 0. And I'm telling it to put a circle there. And 50 is the size circle. If I change that number, it will make my circle larger or smaller. And then I wanted to put a line. So my line is also at 0, 0. So now you know this is actually 0, 0 point. And I'm telling the line what size line I want, and 1, 0 gives you a horizontal line. And I'm telling my line to be 60 length, so in length. So if I change this to 80, I will get a longer line. So, in the next example, I'm just going to show you how to make this triangle with a line down it. So it's the same principle. I'm giving it put commands, and I'm on my XY axis, and my unit is 10, 10. And so I'm going to start at 2 and 3, and I want to draw my line. And I'm telling it to draw the size 40. And then I'm going to put my next one, a line, and I'm going to say what angle I want my line at, and it's 1, 2, and 24. And then I'm doing another put with another angle and another length, and then my last one. So if you do all of these here with the angles, then you will, now this last one is the line down the center with 0, 0, 1 is a vertical line, where 1, 0 is a horizontal line. And these are my angle lines. And so there you have that picture. So you can just change the angles of your lines and the size of your lines. Here, I just wanted to show you that you can put something in a frame box. So I'm telling it to do a frame box. And the first one I'm doing a scale box. That's also part of the graphics package. And you can scale something larger or smaller. So here I wanted you to see that I scaled it larger. And here, it's the scale box. I had it at the same large part, but then I squished it down 1.5. You can see it's a little bit smaller. So that's a little bit of scaling, which is very helpful when you have to even scale down pictures. So now I'm going to show you some Tixie pictures. This first one is just a line with two solid circles at the ends. So I'm drawing my line. I'm starting at 0, 0, and I'm going to 5, 0. So I'm just drawing a horizontal line. And those two dashes in the middle is saying join this coordinate and this coordinate, and make my line. And then I did a fill draw. Fill draw will make it solid. And I'm telling it to start at 0, 0, and I want a circle. And this next right here, the 4 points is the size circle that I have. And I'm doing another one, and you noticed I went to 5. So I'm starting at 5, 0, because I want it to be at the end here. And I made this a little higher point size so you could see the difference. And now I'm just going to draw a circle with lines through it. So here I'm doing a draw, and these are the lines first, actually. And I'm telling it the coordinates here. And then I'm putting the double dash in between. So it's going to draw it from one point to the next point and actually draw my solid line. And so I'm drawing it this way and this way. And then I'm going to put a circle. So I'm telling it where to start with my circle, and I'm telling it what size I want my circle. So if I change this, my circle will get larger or smaller. There's another way to draw like an angle. So you tell it start your coordinates. So I'm going to 0, 0, and then I'm going to 4, 0, and then I want 0, 4. So I'm going like this, but I'm doing cycle because I want it to be a very smooth line all the way around. So it's going from this point to this point to this point to this point. And I didn't have to do the last, this is 1, 2, 3 points. And now the next one is also sort of the same thing, but I did a square box. So I gave all my coordinates with the dashes in between, and it will create my square box. I also wanted to show you it's very good to add mathematics into your pictures. One way to do it is a node at. Tell it where you want the node, and in the set of braces, what you want there. And so I just did 2 X's here. There's also ways to label, you could label each line. So it's a very, very powerful tool. So the next thing I wanted to show you is, like we did in the overview, include graphics. So in include graphics here, I'm telling it to scale at 0.75. And so the include, you don't have to have this here, and you can use \scale box like I used in previous example, but you can also just scale it right here within brackets, because in brackets is an argument like we've done before with our arguments. They're in square brackets. And I'm asking it to put in the tuglogo.png file that I have. I also wanted to show you something different here that doesn't really have to do with graphics. But if you notice, I have begin figure, end figure. You can use the same figure environment, but change the name. So I did a renew command of the and figure name and made it example. So you see it says example. So if you could use this to say diagram instead of example, but you want to stay in your same figure type environment. That's just another way to do it. I hope you've enjoyed our lesson on graphics. Thank you.
Again, can I say something?
You come in and say anything.
I know. I realize there's so much more now that I could have put in that video. It was beginners. I wasn't thinking.
We'll be here the whole day, Sharon.
Yeah, I use Tixie right now mostly. I hardly ever use begin picture, end picture, but it's old school and somebody might want to use it. There's also so many different types of graphic packages out there. It's crazy. And in a beginners type class, to add all that, I didn't think to do it. But even Tixie itself, there's so much labeling. You can label each corner, each node. There's just, it's just so powerful. I can't really explain it all right now. But if you want to use it, I would say look it up and just learn it, because the pictures come out great and the mathematics matches the text. So because it's tech.
Right.
So your paper looks completely fluent. You're not bringing in something from somewhere else and the font is different. And I mean, it doesn't look good when it's like that when you're in a paper. So I would just suggest that if you're going to use this, just look it up and really read about it. It's just a wonderful way to do graphics. And there's many more out there too.
Right. Yeah, no, it's an entire chapter by itself, you know. It's like
Yes.
days and days in here discussing all the packages that are out there. I mean, TAC started out again in the early '80s, late TAC, with doing graphics in a very simple way, as you described, and importing graphics also in a very simple way. You know, just taking the graphic as importing as it is. The evolution is big. You know, right now you can redo your graphics in any way you want. You know, do three-dimensional rendering of photorealistic rendering that can be executed inside LaTeX, and labeling with, you know, I used to look at my papers back in the 80s, my books, and be sort of so disgusted that I couldn't use the same fonts that I had in LaTeX for doing the pictures, because the pictures would be drawn by stuff like you know, Adobe at the time, you know, and so forth, and they wouldn't use the computer modern fonts that I was working with within LaTeX, and it was hard. So that has been transposed, you know, that bridge has been crossed, you know, and tech has been developed to the point where you are indeed able to do those things these days and label the graphics the way you want, the way you need it. And not only that, but produce absolutely amazing graphics.
Yes.
So there's no reason for, I mean, in general, the best person to produce the graphics for a particular paper, a particular book, is the author himself, because the author knows exactly, you know, where he wants the labels, you know, what kind of label he wants, you know, what kind of distance he wants for this and for that, if this crossing needs to be a generic crossing or not, and so forth. And the designer and the sketcher does not always have all these notions with him, so he can, in general, they're able to produce good pictures, but you know, the scientific meaning of those pictures can only be checked by the author himself. So giving those tools, putting those tools in the hands of the author is a very important matter for TAC. And true, I mean, it's just the beginning, you know, there's like a huge amount of stuff that we can do. We're going to move over to the next lecture in just a tiny little bit. And Cheryl is going to talk a little bit about the slide class and the book class itself. And then we're going to walk towards the end where we're going to do Beamer and some other little stuff by Sue and by Cheryl as well. So not much of a delay because I'm talking too much.
No.
Not at all.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Punch, and welcome back to the TUG. Hello, I'm Cheryl Punch, and welcome back to the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. In the overview, I discussed several document classes. So in this lesson, I would like to show you the LaTeX slide class. Sue had showed you some slides on how to use the Beamer. I wanted to show you the difference between the slide class. And I also would like to show you the book class. Report and book are the same, so I'll just show you the book. So for the slide class, basically, you do your document class and slides. And we've talked about arguments and brackets. So here I've done landscape. So if I don't do landscape, the default for the slide class is portrait mode, but I wanted it to be in landscape mode. Right here, I have page style empty because I didn't want any page numbers. However, if we comment this out, we'll get page numbers. I've used the use packages that I may want to use throughout my slides. I have my title page, so to speak, with my title, author, and date, my begin document, of course, my end document, my make title, and the difference between, one of the differences between the Beamer and the slide class is you would do begin frame, end frame, and here you do begin slide, end slide. So you just put the information you want. You can do itemizing, mathematics, anything that you need. And this will work out very nicely if you want one slide without any pauses. So if I took out my page style empty, the default would be to put numbers. So you don't actually have to tell it, it would be the default. So now I would like to show you the book class. So with the book class, let's go up here by the title page. So the book class, I did a two-sided, and the two-sided get as my option. So the two-sided, what it does is it will take your margins and it will alter them between the odd and even pages. So when you bind your book together, you don't have a problem with the binding. And I did page style headings. I did my begin document, my make title. I did a table of contents. So what I want to show you is when you have / chapter, what it does, it's going to start every chapter on the right-hand page. So I've just put in a lot of text here. So what's going to happen is there's going to be an empty page if there's not enough information, because every chapter will start on a new page. So here there wasn't enough information. So what it's going to do is give you a blank page. And basically when you're doing the two-sided, it's okay because it's going to print on the back. Sometimes they'll put this page intentionally left blank. And every chapter will start on the right-hand side. Basically, that's the difference for a book. And you can put report here, and it's not that much different, so you can try that out. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess, again, one of the most useful classes that you can have, you know, the book classes, you know, everybody should write a book before they go out of this. And I wish I would have the time to write a few more. And the book class is like a good friend, you know, I slip with it by my side all the time. And,
It is good. It really is. It's just, you know, just wanted to show a little bit difference of changing your document class in order to produce a different type of output. So I hope everyone tries the different classes just to see what comes out. I just kind of threw the same words in because I just wanted you to see multiple pages so you can see the headings. Now, don't forget, you could always change those headings with fancy header and all those others. I didn't do that in this lesson. I just sort of previously mentioned that you can use them.
yeah, it's useful to, I mean, even to organize your thoughts and write something for yourself, and it will be nice. A few years ago, Javier released a class for changing the language of to a particular language in Brazil called Guarani. My mother my mother was a speaker of this language, and I was able to produce a small booklet for her to see the first book on this language.
Nice. Very nice.
And you can just put the book class in there, load Babel with the right stuff, and there you have it. You know, it's already labeling everything it's supposed to be, the indices that it's supposed to be, the pages that it's supposed to be, and then you have a template which is ready for you to type your stuff, to put your content on. It's very nice.
Yes.
The slides, the same thing. I mean, especially if we are preparing ourselves for pandemic times, you know, producing slides is a must. And
Yes.
as it has always been in academia, and so getting your stuff in a simple format. We recently had a meeting of International Congress in Rio, in which there were a total of about 250 invited speakers, and there were more than 1,000 people that did posters and slides during the conference. And so that's a huge amount of mathematics that gets transacted through posters and through slides, and Beamer and so forth. So that's a very important classes to sort of learn and dominate, and go there and do your stuff and get your math ready. I had the opportunity to go see, about half of those posters, and some of them were amazingly beautiful. You allow authors to create, they produce this stuff. I just like to say, I wanted to ask them, can you provide me with the source of this so I can do something close to that?
Yes. And even when I'm going to explain the Beamer class, again, it's the basics.
Right.
If you really want to use it, you need to look it up and find all of the bells and whistles, because there's a lot more than I'm going to show you in that demonstration.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So without delay, let's walk into a Beamer class.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Ponton.
Now you all know my name for sure.
Yeah.
100 times.
We have to hear twice, because this tool doesn't open the video without playing it. Starts playing it right away. Microsoft Windows is providing instant gratification, so it starts seeing
Right.
the video immediately. Stop it and then share it. And then we'll find our ways. These tools are like in their beginner.
Welcome back to the TUG2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. I'm going to show you how to create Beamer slides for your presentations. So in order to begin, we need to use our Beamer for document class. So we have document class and Beamer. Here I have another one with a argument of handouts. This, I will show you what it looks like, but if you do handout, what it will do is, as I'm showing you these slides, I'm pausing overlays and such. And if you do handout, it will just put everything on the slide so you can pass them out if you need to. Here I created my title page. What's different here is these use themes. So Frankfurt is the theme that I'm using. There are others, which I will show you how they work. This one in particular gives you a blue banner with your title and your frame title. If you use \section, it will put it up here, and it will be sort of like a table of contents. And I can click on any of these and go back and forth to that specific slide. And that will show up on every slide. So if I click on this one, it brings me straight to the verbatim slide. So this is what I want to show you first. So verbatim is used a lot in slides because you might want to explain something in a tech format where if you want to do a \begin something, if you do that, it will want to do a command. So if you want it to be literal, you have to put it in some sort of verbatim. And so there's \verb or begin verbatim, end verbatim, and there's other forms of verbatim to use. So even though I have a verbatim use package here, it's not going to work unless I use this fragile. If I was to take this out and compile my file, it's not going to. It's going to complain because it doesn't know what to do with it. So I'm going to put this back in. So what if something happens like that and you're like, wow, I know this is right. I have to use package. This is working. It is very possible that you would need the fragile in front of your frame. A lot of times I use it as a default because that way you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, so that's what that is. So I would like you to be aware of that. So the next thing I want to show you is pausing. Pausing is very useful because when you're giving a talk, you want to say something and then you want to talk about it and then you want to go to the next one. So here I did an itemized, but you can use this in anything. You could put a pause after any word and it will stop your slide until you tell it to continue. So right here, I put a pause after here, so it will continue when I tell it to continue to the next slide. So it's very, very useful, especially when you're doing a presentation. So the next thing I want to show you is overlays. Overlays are a little bit more complicated, where in between your angled brackets or pointed brackets, it will tell it what slides in this frame you want it to show up on. So if a 1- means 1 through the end of my frame, my slides. 1 through 3 gives it 1, 2, and 3. -2 will say from the beginning to whatever number slide that is. 2 through 4 says not on slide 1, but 2, 3, and 4, not on slide 5, however, on slide 6. So let's see how this actually works. So I just did an itemize here. And here you see, so let's pay attention to what's in these angled brackets. So the word first is only going to show up on the first slide. First, second, and third is going to show up 1, 2, and 3 slides. First and second is only going to show up on the first and second slide. This one is only going to show up not on slide 1, but 2, 3, 4, not on slide 5 and slide 6. So let's see how that works. So here we have it. It's giving it the exactly slide number. Now these are my slides in my frame. And this one here, you notice first is gone because it's only on page 1, only on slide 1. And then if we go like this, you didn't notice the space on first. What it does is it leaves a space wherever those items were. And it only gives me the slides that I asked for. So here you'll notice it's on slide 4, but none of these others are on slide 4. Now, nothing is on slide 5 because we didn't tell it to give anything on slide 5. However, we have 6 slides. So it's going to go up to the 6th one. So that's one way of overlays are very, very powerful. And there's many, many ways to do it. I'm just showing you just a little sample. So here I'd like to show you, you can also do on slide. So let me compile this. And I'm going to do the word show this, but it's going to show up only on slide 2 and 3. It won't show up on slide 1. Here's slide 1, there's slide 2, and there's slide 3, and it won't show up on any of the other slides. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you, you can add color. You can actually add color to anything. I just did it right here. And let's compile this again. So it's still going to show up only on slide 2 and 3. That's slide 1. There's 2, but it's in blue now because I told it to give the color blue. Slide 3, and it's not on any other slide. So that's how that works. Now, if you notice this first here, jumped a little bit quickly, there's something called an alert. So I gave it an item 1, 2, and 3, and I gave it an alert. And all of this, remember, is in these angled brackets. So that's my whole part there. So the word first is going to show up on slide 1 and 2. The word second is going to be alerted on slide 2. And the word third is going to be alerted on slide 3. So there's first. And first is also on slide 2 because there's a 1 and 2. And if you notice, third is alerted, but 1 and 2 are not alerted on slide 3. So that one is the only one in red. So next I'm going to show you some theorems and proofs and lemmas. So usually you need AMS theorem package. In Beamer, it's embedded. So you just need to add your begin theorem, end theorem, and your begin proof, end proof. However, if you do want to create a new one, such like we've done in our theorems lesson, You can do a new theorem right here and create your theorem. You can also label and reference. So I can label this theorem up here, and I'm going to reference it down here. It's not giving me a 1 here, but it will refer to the first theorem that I have right there. So that's basically, you can use that just like in any other document. I want to show you that you can use graphics. I've included my include graphics of my TUG logo. I've also put it in a begin figure and figure works with caption, and I did the same labeling and referencing. You can use Tixie Picture. You can use any form of graphs that works in a regular document into your Beamer slides. However, you just need the correct use packages in order for it to work. I wanted you to see that you can do footnotes like you can in a regular document. Just use it the same way. And of course, why are we here? Mathematics. You can use any of the mathematics that you want in regular documents into your Beamer slides, and they come out beautiful. So now I want to just go back up, and I'm going to show you quickly how to do the handouts. So I'm just going to comment this out and take this one. And I will compile this. Now you remembered throughout this lesson that I had all these pauses and overlays and everything. But if you're going to do a handout, that's technically like a lot of slides. You don't really see it, but each one is its own individual slide. So if you do it that way, you're going to get everything all in one slide without having any of those pauses. So if you need to hand out slides, this is the perfect way to do this, and then you can print these out. So I'm going to do this. I guess I could have left that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the use theme. So I'm going to put a comment mark in front of here, and I'm going to do the Singapore use theme. So I explained how this one works. Let's compile this next one and see how it works. So this theme uses sort of like a light blue up here. It still gives me my list up here with my section, but it doesn't give me anything else. There's no other, and if you go to, and it centers your title, your frame title that you gave. It doesn't give it to the right or the left, it centers it. So that is that theme. We'll do the next one. And this theme gives you your name, whatever's in the author field, the title. So this is giving you your title page, basically, your name, your title, and the year without anything else. It doesn't, I did this section, it doesn't give me anything even though I used it. And it gives your title, frame title over to the left justified. So now we will show you the next one. And the next one basically is extremely plain. It just gives you your slides, but it puts your frame title over to right justified. That's about it, but everything else is sort of blank. Okay, this one is Madrid. So this one here has your, it does, whoops, it gives you your title page. Let's go back here. Sort of the same way, it does not give you your sections up here. However, it gives you your title page information on the bottom. And over here, I think on the other one too, it gives you how many slides that you have. And this last one that we have, which is Warsaw. And this one actually kind of shrinks your slides, and it gives you your, where you can click on your slides, but it gives it to you vertically versus horizontally with this blue, and then it gives you your pretty much the information in your title page. So we'll just go back to the original one, which I prefer, but everyone has their own preference. I believe there's probably others, and I believe you might be able to alter it, like you can change your the article style to fit your needs. I believe that you can also change this beamer style to fit your needs. So that is a sort of a quick little lesson on how you can create your presentation with Beamer. It is very powerful. I would encourage you to look it up. There's many more powerful features that I did not go over in this lesson, and I hope you enjoy this. Thank you very much.
I want to thank both Sue and Cheryl for this special lecture. I mean, this was a request by users.
I hope it was effective.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm trying to learn something here so I can produce my own slides for tomorrow. I'm not.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I'm not a slide person as much. I prefer. When I used to teach, it was this huge boards, that you can flip back, and I came from my own background with, I had to teach on one single little board, very small. And when I came here and I got a classroom that it has 12 boards that you can flip up and down, and
yeah, crazy.
I was in heaven. I was in heaven. and got acquainted with that stuff, and so I had a very hard time shoehorning myself into presentation slides, but here is a must.
Yes.
I can fit a board in here tomorrow. But this it's also a very powerful class, in order to transmit knowledge, transmit information, and so forth. And so it should be on the bag of every scientist, of every aspiring scientist.
And we're just touching on things here. There are
right
so many use packages and so much, whatever you really want to do. And Google's wonderful because you can
yes.
look up.
Yes.
It really is. I encourage everybody to continue and just look up what they need, and they will probably find it.
I want to put a plug here for Jim Heffern's talk. He's going to.
Okay.
What is a good bag of packages? And
I will not miss that.
Yeah, and his talks are really good, and I have seen a piece of it, and it's really and to know about this packages. I'm afraid there is one in there that I don't know, and I want to find out.
I'm sure there's many I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice to learn, how much you're missing on things, so you can plot knowledge and plot the lack of knowledge at the same time.
Yes.
So let's continue with one more talk on helpful hints, and we come into to the final parts of our workshop, and Let's see this.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Con. And I'd like to welcome you back to the final lesson for the TUG 2020 Beginners LaTeX Workshop. We're going to call this lesson Helpful Hints. So first, I would like to show you how to reset a counter. So if you remember in our previous lesson, we changed the to be Roman numerals for the section numbers, but they're going in sequential order with the alpha numerals. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset the counter so the Roman numerals will begin with 1 and 2 versus 5 and 6. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to uncomment out my counter. So set counter is what I want to reset. And I want to reset the section because I'm setting the section number and I'm setting it to 0. So 0 means the next number. It jumps to the next number, which will be 1. Had I wanted to set it to 3, I would have put the number 2. So now I'm going to rerun my file. And you'll notice now this is number 1 and the next Roman numeral is number 2. However, my next one is 3, but I really want to keep this in the convention of the last one that I used in this formatting. So that was in section 4. So I really want this to be in 5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have to reset this counter to 4. So now this will become 5 and will be in sequential order. So I will save this and recompile. And so now I have my Roman numerals isolated for whatever reason. And now my section numbers are going to be in sequential order. So there's another thing I'm going to show you because it's happening right here. If you notice, I have this box right here, and it's telling me that I have an overfull box. So I have an overfull box because I've actually done \large to make my my words larger for this purpose of these lessons. But what's happening is everything is going over the line. So if it goes over the line, it's going to tell you that there's an overfull box. So it's telling me that I have an overfull box at line 101. So this is actually this one here. So let's go to line 101. And depending on your editor, it will tell you the line number, but you'll have to see how it works with your editor. So here's 101. Now I actually, because I wanted this to be in a verbatim mode, I did a \verb instead of begin verbatim, end verbatim. And this little plus sign here starts and the plus sign ends my verbatim. So you see it's in text font. However, it's too wide because it's going over the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a no indent here. I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to recompile. And you'll notice I'm not getting it on that line anymore. It's actually jumping to another line because that line is also overfull. So if I go down, but this line has now not overfull. And I will show you right here. If you can see now, it's actually inside my margin, right inside the margin. Okay, so the next one's telling me overfull is line 111. So let's go to line 111. And 111 is right here. And it's telling me now that this line is overfull. So I can fix those lines and these will disappear. The reason my paper is like this, so you can see this is way over the margin. So the reason that this is happening is because I actually am changing my fonts, but this can happen at any given moment when you're trying to do something. So I'd also like to show you that you can do line breaks. So let's go to, so right here, if you notice, I did a verb and it's just too long. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do \line break. And I'm going to recompile my paper. And it's going to put this on a new line. However, it is very possible. So here, I'm also going to do a line break. But notice, because of where I did this line break, it's stretching my whole line. So I can, what if I don't want to stretch my whole line, but I want all my information just to be closer together? I can change this line break to an H fill break. And recompile my document here. And you'll notice it will H fill my line and it will then break my line. So of course, I really don't want my file to look like this, but there is a way where you can fix your line spacing. Okay, so now I'm going to go to, I had mentioned earlier that I was going to show you how to change a footnote symbol. So let's look for the footnote. Okay, so here we have our footnote. And let me go over, let's recompile this right now. Okay, and this is going to bring me to my footnotes here. So what I'm going to show you here, excuse me, is that when you do your regular footnote, it's going to start with a 1, 2, 3. You can change this footnote by changing the command, and then you can also change the set counter, just like we did with our sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a renew command, the footnote, and we're going to change it to elf footnote. So what will happen there, if I don't reset the counter and I've already had a footnote, I'll show you what will happen. What's going to happen here, see if I can make this a little bigger. It changes it to a B because we already had a 1. So it's going to sequentially number it, only it will change it the format. So instead of being a 2, it's going to be a B. But let's say we want it to be A. So what we would have to do is reset our counter like we did earlier. And now it will be an A. So the next one will be a B. However, everything's going to be this way unless you change it back to the numbers. So I also wanted to show you that you can change the footnote symbol. So here I'm doing also, again, a renew command of the footnote, and I'm changing it to a dagger. So if I want to do that, the next time I have a footnote, it's going to show up as a dagger. So that's a quick way to change your styles if you wish. So now I'm going to show you some errors. So I've created, I put some theorems in here, and I'm going to go down to where the theorems are. So here's my begin theorem, end theorem. Well, my file's been checking just perfectly fine. However, what if you do a begin and remember I told you you have to do an end? So let's say, I'm going to comment this out. So let's say you forget to put your end theorem and you go to compile your paper. Oh, now we have an error message. So the error message is telling me that I have a begin theorem ended by end document. That means it kept looking for the next one, until it got to the end document. So now this is telling me, this is actually the end document line, but it's also telling me what line I started my theorem on. So if I do go to that line, of course, I would notice that I don't have my end theorem. So now I'm going to put my end theorem. I'm not getting my message anymore, and everything is working out perfectly fine. So you just have to remember, if you have a begin, you have to have an end, whether it is a $sign, whether it's a environment, it doesn't matter. But if you do not have both, then you're going to get an error message. I hope you've enjoyed our helpful hints, and I hope you enjoyed our workshop. Thank you very much.
I just want to tell you that we haven't finished yet, that we have a couple of small lessons from Sue on the letter style and the slide style, isn't it? So I want to play those.
Hi, this is Sue Demerit. We're going to be Sue Demerit. We're going to be creating a letter using LaTeX. Creating a letter in LaTeX is very straightforward. Your document class is going to be letter. 12 point is the size of your font. And you have your signature who's sending the letter. And then you have the return address. Then you begin your document, and the first you begin letter, and the first thing you're going to do is put in who the letter is to. Then you're going to pick your opening, put in your text, then you put in your closing, and letter and document, and that's about it. Let's create some changes and just see what it does. So okay, let's say this is for Springsteen. And it changes up here. Okay. Notice the date is today's date of the day I'm recording. If you want a different date, you put it specifically in date. July 2020. Recompile it. And that'll be the date it puts in there. So as you can see, it puts in who it's to, the text. You can put math in as well. And then you sign it, yours truly, and it's from Joe Fox. That's about it. This is a very quick lesson. Letter is a very handy template to be able to use. The longer the letter is itself, it will put the page number on each page. Thank you.
And then we should go right into the next one, which is on slides as well.
Hi, this is Sue Demerit. Hi, this is Sue Demerit. We're going to be learning about creating slides in LaTeX. And when I create slides, you can use the document class slides or Beamer. I prefer Beamer. Okay, so you put in your use package verbatim, you have your title, the author, the institute, the date, and your use packages. Then you want to make a title, which will create all this. Okay, here's your begin frame, and here's your title. Now, because I'm using verbatim and the \verb command, I have to put fragile in brackets, otherwise it won't work. Then you put in the text you want, and then end frame. You can put in tables, you can refer to them. You can add math. Here's an example of some math in your document and the table. Then I just put in some information to create a few more slides. Note that when you make your slides, if there's too much text in it, it will be too long and you'll see it go down here. That's when you'll have to break it up and create a new slide. And that's it. It's very easy. Thank you.
And with this, we came to the end of the last lesson. I'd like to thank Sue and Cheryl tremendously. I mean, this was is a great benefit for the conference. You know, we have always done this, and the opportunity to be able to do this with people attending from all over the world. We had about 45 people that attended, both on YouTube and on Zoom. And we still don't know how many people attended on Zoom streaming yet. And I assume it'll be sort of, equal to YouTube. And so it was very nice to be able to work with all of you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Nice
This
to
was
work with
something
you.
new. This was something new for us.
I think we shouldn't let it go just because there is a pandemic around us.
Right.
Yes. Yep. Thank you very much, Sue and Cheryl. It was great. And thank you, Paula, for chairing this session and for organizing all this all.
Oh, I haven't done anything besides disturbing them, besides inserting my bits.
Well, I would like to thank Paulo, especially. He just helped us through this. It was a new experience. I'd like to thank everybody who attended. I hope that you learned something and that you'll want to continue to learn more because I think it's fun.
Yeah, we had great questions and on coming on the chat, and we'll be able to continue that some more. I'd like to point everybody that still have some questions on the chat that haven't been answered, point them to the conference. We will have the conference being broadcasted on Zoom, being streamed on Zoom, being streamed on YouTube, and we're going to have several social meeting rooms on GoToMeeting, where you'll be able to sit down and ask questions of other people. And we're going to have some parallel discussions also going on Zulip. All this information is on the email that was sent to everybody. And if you hadn't planned attending the conference, please do so. There's some tremendous lectures coming up. Steve Madison's opening the conference tomorrow with a talk on the road to No2, which is the set of fonts that fill in the blanks on the Android phone. And he's one of the most read American authors of all time, even without being an author, just because he is the author of every font that you see online. every
Yes.
read on, every single bit of machine has its touch, and this was just supposed to be a tremendous lecture. And then we have a huge program with lots of stuff coming up, and closing with a talk by John McFarlane on Pandoc, which is this beautiful program that translates among some 60 different formats, and TEC being central to this because it's the format that transforms everything into PDF and everything else. So welcome to TUG 2020, and come back tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leaving. Let's see. We can stay online a little bit more, Sharon, Sue, and Boris, if you want to discuss a few things.
Okay, so everybody else is off?
No, but let me take care of that. I have to click quite a few times in here. So if you want, you can wait a little bit. Sorry, I just have to terminate all of them individually.
Don't forget to close YouTube.
Yes.
Another thing would be to stop this and restart it again, but whatever.
Yeah, we could. You want me to send another invitation out for you guys on email?
Yeah, maybe it would be
Okay.
faster.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.